Thursday, and Smith had been the leading kick returner for the Falcons as Nick Mickemeyer will kick off for the white-shirted Buffalo Bills. The crowd is prime. Who expected these teams to be where they are as we move into the second half of the season? And we're ready for the kickoff here in Orchard Park, New York. And Anderson will field the kick 4 yards in his end zone. He's hit hard at about the 17-yard line by an aroused Buffalo kick team, Scott Hutchinson, and so the Falcons will go on offense. An offensive line that has been awfully tough. Mike Ken is on the verge of all-pro status. Two tough men in the backfield. Lynn Kane and William Andrews have gained over 1,000 yards between them. Junior Miller, the fine rookie tight end, and the quarterback Steve Bartkowski, who threw 17 touchdown passes last year, has 15 right now. First and 10 at the 18, and in motion comes Wallace Francis. And the give is to Kane. Kane gets to the 22-yard line. Good yardage, Shane Nelson. The linebacker makes the tackle. And let's look at the Buffalo Bills on defense. Like the Falcons, they like the 3-4. Fred Smerlas, very tough nose tackle. Ben Williams is having a superb season as a pass rusher. And they have outstanding linebackers, including Jim Haslett, number 55, one to watch. And the secondary, a great story with Bill Simpson, number 45, who came out of retirement. Second and a long 3 for Bartkowski. Up the middle and close to a first down is Andrews. And that's the 1-2 combination. Shane Nelson again on the stop. And they're close to a first down, and they have a first down.
Dick Shane Nelson, the man in there on the tackle. They refer to the 3-4 of the Buffalo Bills defensively as the Bermuda Triangle, and they said it's going to be severely tested here this afternoon against the Atlanta Falcons because Atlanta pounds it up the middle often.
First and 10 at the 29-yard line. Andrews was the blocking back for Cribbs at Auburn, but he didn't really know him, as he revealed yesterday. They were almost strangers, despite being on the same team. First and 10 at the 29. Junior Miller, the tight end, in motion. Going to the air for the first time. Bartkowski out of the backfield is Andrews. Bobbled it, but held on and gets to the 35 before Jim Haslett, in his second year from Indiana, Pennsylvania, makes the stop.
Good defense that time by the secondary of the Buffalo Bills. So Bartkowski went to the checkoff man. That's what you try to do, is isolate the back on the linebacker just sliding out of the backfield. And it's a second down for the Atlanta Falcons on the move, their initial possession. Bartkowski 1 for 1 in the passing department.
Alfred Jenkins wide to the left. Francis split to the right. In motion comes Francis. First back through. Andrews is piled up at the line. Jim Haslett once more, and as Jim talked about that Bermuda Triangle of Smerlas, Haslett, and Shane Nelson, Ben Williams made the stop, but if that nose tackle Smerlas can clog things up, it opens things up for other players, Jim.
Dick, he is the key, the nose tackle, sometimes referred to as the sacrificial lamb. Smerlas, a good one, a second-year man from Boston College, 6'3", 270, the key in the 3-4 defense for the Buffalo Bills.
Mike Kadish, number 71, who alternates with Smerlas at nose tackle, is in there now as a fourth lineman, and Russ McKeska, number 87, is a tight end. Two tight ends for the Falcons at 3rd and 2 at the 37. And here's Kane trying to go outside. And Lynn Kane has a first down and out of bounds at the 41-yard line, forced out there by Mario Clark.
Dick, they had a shot at him in the backfield before he turned the corner. There you see the book on Lynn Kane so far this year.
Two actually fullbacks in college, Kane and Andrews. Kane was blocking for Charles White, and Andrews, they're tough inside runners. They don't have the outstanding outside speed, but they don't really need it because they get the tough inside yardage and the line blocks for them. First and 10 at the 41. And here's Kane cutting inside, showing moves, and Lynn Kane picks up at least 6, maybe 7 yards before the free safety Bill Simpson, number 45, makes the stop. So a look at Lynn Kane, who's 5th in the NFC. He has scored 4 touchdowns and has been a starter since mid-season of last year.
He's kind of the grinded-out variety. He averages about 3.5 yards every time he catches or touches the football, and his longest run from scrimmage, 14 yards.
It'll be 2nd and 3, and this is a quarterback's delight for Bartkowski, who's 1 for 1. Andrews Doesn't get anywhere, and Sherman White, in fact, the front three combined to make the stop. Sherman White, the best pass rusher along with Ben Williams, reported to camp late, but he's a physical specimen. Former #1 draft choice by the Cincinnati Bengals in his 9th year out of the University of California. It'll be 3rd and 3. No gain. The ball for the Atlanta Falcons at their own 48-yard line. Opening minutes here at Rich Stadium.
Dick, last time on 3rd and short, they went wide with Lynn Kane riding out to the right side. This would be a good blitzing down for the Buffalo Bills. Again, the 3-4, and now Bartkowski wants to talk things over.
And an unusual timeout early in the ball game. You'd like to save them for late in the first half, but Bartkowski obviously feels that at 3rd and 3, this could be a big series, though it be the opening series for the Atlanta Falcons. 10:55 remaining in the first quarter. No score here at Orchard Park.
First score of the afternoon, a safety. A bad punt snap by the Green Bay Packers, recovered in the end zone for a touchdown, and the Steelers, who have lost 3 in a row, first time that's happened since '76, off to a quick 2-0 lead.
All right, big 3rd and 3 now at the 48-yard line for the Falcons. They've controlled the ball since the opening moments. Nearly 4 minutes right now, and in 3rd and 3, Lynn Kane going wide. He has Andrews blocking, cuts in, and is close to a first down. Penalty marker down, however. He looked like he was going to make it, but Shane Nelson and Jim Haslett came up strong from the inside linebacker position and holding against Atlanta. And a big penalty will set them way back.
Obvious break for the Buffalo Bills, Dick. R.C. Thielman, Warren Bryant on the right side, doing a pretty good job of blocking for the Atlanta Falcons. That's the second time they have run that exact same play on 3rd and short.
And they had the first down where they placed the ball at the 49. So not only do the Falcons not get the first down.
Holding, offense, number 66.
That's Warren Bryant, 4th-year player from Kentucky and one of the 2 #1 draft choices on that offensive line for the Falcons. So it's now 3rd and 13 at the 38-yard line. Mike Kadish comes in as a 4th lineman up front, and Rufus Best is a 5th defensive back.
That holding is why Bryant was doing such a good job.
That's right. 3rd and 13. Bartkowski. His receivers covered well, and the pass, penalty marker down. It was intended for Wallace Francis, incomplete, and covering on the play was the safety Bill Simpson. But let's see what that penalty is, and apparently it's against Buffalo. Early preliminary indications say that.
Offside against the Buffalo Bills. So that will still not be enough for the first down. However, the Falcons will get another shot after Bartkowski threw the ball a little high. Francis was open. He split the seam down about midfield.
Bartkowski is finally a settled quarterback. He's been injured throughout most of his career. He is more stable now, more patient. He used to feel he had to drill the ball.
Lined up in the neutral zone.
Ben Williams, encroachment you may want to call it, lining up in the neutral zone. So now Bartkowski with still another chance at 3rd and about 8.
Steve, not the up and down quarterback of recent years. Falcons used to win games primarily on their defense. Now they do it with a balance of good defense and a balanced offense.
And so do the Bills. That's why these teams are quite similar. 3rd down and 8 for Bartkowski. He's got enough time, and his pass to Lynn Kane, and it's complete. Lynn Kane catches a good low catch at the 46-yard line. Isaiah Robertson covering. Kane made a fine play. And it'll be an Atlanta first down, and they still keep possession.
Just a simple down and out. Lynn Kane, number 21. You see him loop out of the backfield right there. Goes down about 12, 13 yards. Squares out to the left side. And watch the shoe top kept right there, right in front of the Buffalo bench. And it's a first down for the Falcons.
Back to the 3-4 for the Bills. 1st and 10. Atlanta at the Buffalo 45. Nearly 5 minutes gone by. First quarter here at Rich Stadium. Kane can't go anywhere. Maybe a yard on the play, and that's all.
Falcons not having a great deal of success going up the middle against the 3-4, the Buffalo Bills, when they have run well so far this afternoon. And again, it's early. They have done it wide to the right side and also over the passing arm of Steve Bartkowski. A couple of more scores now. Kansas City has just gone out in front over the Baltimore Colts with a field goal by Nick Lowry of 27 yards. The Chiefs on top 3-0 there, and San Diego 7-0 over Cincinnati. Mike Thomas, a 7-yard run for the Chargers.
Both wide receivers now split right. 2nd and 7 at the 42. Coming in motion towards you is Kane. And Francis looking for a hole. He has it. Francis has a first down. Check that, Andrews. William Andrews, a first down at the 33-yard line before Simpson and Lucius Sanford. The linebacker makes the stop. Good move by William Andrews.
And from the end zone now, watch 78 Mike Ken, the left tackle, number 70 Dave Scott, the left guard, and the hole that they opened up for William Andrews, number 31, second-year running back out of Auburn. And he is coming off another 100-yard performance last week against the Los Angeles Rams.
They like that Mike Ken. He's in his third year, number 1 pick in '78 from Michigan. Alfred Jackson, number 85, the big play receiver, is in the game replacing Wallace Francis for the Falcons. First and 10 at the 32. Play action for Bartkowski. Getting a rush, and Junior Miller is there, but it's Robertson, who laterals to Mario Clark. Check that. Charles Romes. Romes still has it, and he's down at the 35-yard line. Sherman White put the rush on Bartkowski, underthrew to Junior Miller. It was picked off. And alert lateral. And the Bills have it.
From the end zone now, watch Bartkowski as he looks. Look how open Junior Miller appears to be. The ball is underthrown, and right spot at the right time, Isaiah Robertson. Now here's the key. Otherwise, they start first and 10 from their own 7. Laterals the ball off to Charles Rome, the 4-year back from North Carolina Central. So the Bills, who had gone, Dick, almost half of the first quarter without touching the football, have first and 10.
When you've got to rely on your vehicles, rely on AC Delco. AC fire ring spark plugs, AC filters, Delco shocks, and a battery even tougher than the Freedom. The maintenance-free Delco Freedom 2 battery with more efficient starting power. For over 50 years, hard-working people have relied on AC Delco parts for just about anything that moves.
AC Delco, working hard for you.
And right now, AC Delco is making it possible for you to get the Delco Freedom 2 battery on sale at participating outlets.
It's knowing you depend on us. We're gonna solve your problems, yeah, we understand. It's knowing Avis tries so hard, we'll always be right there to lend a helping hand.
Yeah, Avis takes the worry out of renting cars, no matter where the road may wind. At Avis you're leaving your worries behind.
Live, undefeated champion Hilmer Kenny blasts away with Villamar Fernandez for the WBA Lightweight Championship. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
We're back, in the Buffalo Bills with 8:26 remaining in the first quarter have the ball on their 36-yard line after Isaiah Robertson's second interception of the year, and that's experience as he alertly lateraled to Charles Romes, brought it back up to the 36. First and 10, Joe Ferguson, number 12, the quarterback. In motion is Frank Lewis. And the first pass, Jerry Butler. And Butler has a first down in Atlanta territory. Joe Ferguson, 58% completions, 9 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. And Jerry Butler, last year's AFC top rookie, the reception.
Take a look now as if you're the secondary of the Atlanta Falcons. Look how much room number 37, Kenny Johnson, gives him. That's the rookie from Mississippi State. Again, the linebacking core, 3 rookies for the Atlanta Falcons, and the second-year man, Joel Williams, had the big game against the Rams last week.
19-yard pickup, so it's first and 10 now at the Falcon 48-yard line. Curtis Brown, number 47, Joe Cribbs, number 20, are the running backs. Lewis in motion again. And a play-action pass, fake to Cribbs, and they're going to go deep for Butler, and it's overthrown. He got tripped up on his own devices. He was covered back there by Kenny Johnson, but it was a good pass, and he just lost his footing. They try to get the big 6 in a hurry.
Boy, the look on Joe Ferguson's face right there tells it all. Excellent pass protection that time by the Buffalo Bills offensive front 5. Take another look now. You're looking at Ferguson and the frustration. And again, they're working on the rookie from Mississippi State, Kenny Johnson, number 37, giving him all kinds of room. Look how badly beaten Jerry Butler does right there. He's got a good 6 yards on him, and he just trips over his own feet down about the 5-yard line, otherwise a quick 6.
Now, Jim, you see what the presence of Joe Cribbs does. It froze the defense right there, and they were able to use him as a decoy on that play. Second and 10 at the 48. Butler, number 80, Lewis, 82, the wide receivers, and Joe Cribbs carries for the first time, gets a few yards, loose ball. Bob Glazebrook, former linebacker with Oakland, now the strong safety for the Falcons. Number 36 makes the stop. Joe Cribbs, second in rushing in the AFC with 608 yards, also leads the Bills in pass receiving.
Take another look at Joe Cribbs, the outstanding rookie out of Auburn University, and watch the loose football, as Dick called it for you, because Joe Cribbs already has coughed it up a total of 8 times this year. The NFL record for running backs fumbling the ball was 15. That was set by the Cardinals' Terry Metcalf back in '76.
3 wide receivers now. Cribbs goes into the slot. Ron Jesse, number 81, is in there. Roland hooks as well. The pass over the middle. And wide open for a first down at the 22 is Ron Jesse, the veteran, and a penalty marker down as well where the reception was.
Take a look at how wide open it is. Joe Ferguson, right on target all afternoon. Here's the preliminary indication. Personal foul against the Falcons. So a big gain. In fact, the first down for the Buffalo Bills will hurt the Falcons even more.
And that's the first catch of the year for Ron Jesse, 10-year player from Kansas, came over from the LA Rams. Let's pick it up from Chuck Heberling, the referee.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 37. First down.
It was Kenny Johnson, number 37.
A little frustrated, I think.
Yeah, the beleaguered cornerback. We saw him in the opening game of the season when Ahmad Rashad did a tune on him. First and 10 at the 11-yard line. 2 tight ends. Mark Bramer, number 86, is in there, as well as Reuben Gant, 88. First and 10. The Bills are threatening here with 6:46 to go in the first quarter. Play action. Ferguson to the air. And a touchdown. Frank Lewis, touchdown. And the Buffalo Bills are on the board. And that's 3 touchdown passes from Ferguson to Lewis in the last 2 weeks, and the crowd loves it.
And Dick, how quickly they take advantage of that Isaiah Robertson interception, the 15th Buffalo Bill INT on the season. Let's take another look at that touchdown toss by Joe Ferguson. Number 12, again, they freeze the linebackers, the 3-4 defense of the Falcons. Fake to Cribbs up the middle, and watch how open Lewis is in the end zone right there. Touchdown, Buffalo goes up on top 6-0, and to try to make it 7, following that interception by Isaiah Robertson.
Mickemeyer will attempt the point after. David Hum will hold. Mickemeyer has missed just 1 conversion this year. He's 21 for 22, and the Buffalo Bills have drawn the first blood here with 7-0, following the interception and the lateral. The touchdown pass, Ferguson to Frank Lewis. It's 7-0, the Bills lead.
Motorcraft, for sure. Motorcraft, for sure.
How do you make the great lineup of Motorcraft parts even better? You've already got batteries with sure power, hot firing spark plugs, and a full line of filters. So how do you make it better? Just add oil. Introducing Motorcraft Oil, formulated to stabilize oxidation and reduce wear. Rated SF, it meets the most advanced engineering standards set for the 80s. You can be sure of it.
Motorcraft, for sure.
Outside, the Canon NP200 may look like any small copier, but inside there's a world of difference, a world of micronics, where 20 copies a minute are not only possible, but made reliable with a microcomputer. Fiber optics precisely defines your image, and a toner projection system gives you clear copies on virtually any paper. Up to 11 by 17, compact in size and price, the Canon NP200 is definitely worth looking into.
Dracula is coming to New York, and his style is irresistible. George Hamilton and Susan St. James star in Love at First Sight, Wednesday night. Good evening.
Nick Mickemeyer will kick off for the Bills. They lead at 7-0, and Anthony Anderson, number 33, who came over from the Pittsburgh Steelers on waivers, will receive this kick at the 2-yard line. Has trouble finding the handle. Anthony Anderson tries to squeeze his way beyond the 10. He manages to get to the 14-yard line where Doug Green, number 21, a defensive back. As you look at the scoring drive, didn't take Buffalo long to go 65 yards. Frank Lewis, touchdown reception, is his 5th of the year to lead the club.
A couple of more scores. Ricky Bell, a touchdown run of 21 yards. The Buccaneers on top over the New York Giants. 6:38 gone in quarter number 1 in Tampa Bay. The Lions have grabbed a quick 7-0 lead over San Francisco. Gary Danielson passing to Billy Sims, 41 yards. Lions 7-zip against the 49ers.
At the 15, 1st and 10 for Bartkowski and the Falcons. Kane in motion away. Both wide receivers to the left. Andrews cuts inside, gets some good yardage up to the 20-yard line before Sherman White makes the tackle. As we mentioned at the outset, you're looking at the top two defenses in the league against the rush. Atlanta's number 1, Buffalo's number 2. No surprise that Ferguson went to the air in that series.
No question about it. And again, he worked on the rookie from Mississippi State, Kenny Johnson, number 37, who is in for a long afternoon. They're going to have some defensive adjustments and make some changes there. Otherwise, this game could get out of hand rather quickly.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5 at the 20. First back through, Andrews gets a couple, so it'll be 3rd and short as Ben Williams, the other defensive end, makes the stop. Jim Haslett as well. Haslett, number 55, was the top defensive rookie in the league last year.
You remember that touchdown pass, Gary Danielson to Billy Sims, 41 yards. The next kickoff, right? James Owens for the 49ers goes 101 yards. They're tied 7-all.
Wow, exciting. So that's a game, of course, Detroit needs to win to stay ahead of the pursuers. The Chicago Bears play tomorrow, but Green Bay surprisingly tied with Tampa Bay. 3rd and 1. 4 down linemen, 2 tight ends for the Falcons, and Bartkowski calls his own number and apparently has a first down. We'll check to see where they spot it. Not a bad call, Jim.
Well, you don't risk the handoff. Bartkowski turns around and looks at the referee. Of course, the key is where they spot it. Charles Rones, number 26, as you take another look at it, he thought the defense got in there and stopped him. He tries to go up and over on the right side, and if they mark his forward progress, it should be enough for a first down. He picked up at least a yard. Another score in from that Baltimore-Kansas City game. Burt Jones has just passed 18 yards to Reese McCall. The Colts are now out in front of Kansas City by a score of 7-3.
So here's the measurement. And it's a Buffalo first, it is an Atlanta first down as you look at Buffalo's defense. Only the 3rd meeting between the clubs. If you're surprised that this stadium is not sold out, or upwards of 70,000, is that the Falcons are not a familiar rival to the Buffalo fans. They've met previously 73 and in 77, and Buffalo won both those games. 1st and 10 now, under 5 minutes to play first quarter. Bartkowski has the Falcons at their own 30-yard line. Bills lead at 7-0. And a quick pass. Lynn Kane. An alert defense by the Buffalo Bills. He didn't get far. Steve Freeman, the strong safety, who had 2 interceptions against New England, his first 2 of the year, as you look at San Diego opening up a first quarter score over Cincinnati.
Rolf Panushka, 40-yard field goal. That makes it 10-0. The Chargers on the rebound after that humbling experience at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys last week. They had a 24-14 halftime edge, San Diego did, and then the Cowboys exploded in the second half.
2nd and 4, Wallace Francis 89, split way to the left. Alfred Jenkins 84 to the right. At the 31-yard line, Andrews bucks ahead and spins off for maybe a yard. It'll be 3rd and short yardage, perhaps 2.5 for the Falcons. And thus far, it seems apparent that the Falcons have not been able to run against the Buffalo Bills defense.
Again, that Bermuda Triangle effect of the 3-4 of the Buffalo Bills defense, doing the job they have to do inside. When the Falcons have had success running in the first quarter, it's been generally to the right side and it's been wide.
Jeff Van Note, 57, the 12-year veteran in the center, but they've got a lot of 3 to 5-year veterans on that line, and the Falcons think that they're going to develop. Ken, of course, we already know about. Dave Scott has been inconsistent. Thielman and Bryant on the other side. 3rd and 3 at the 32. Kane looking for a hole, nowhere, and Sherman White, number 83 makes the stop for a loss, and now Atlanta will have to kick. So Bartkowski continues to move the ball on the ground, and the Bills are equal to the task.
Number 83, you look at him right there, Sherman White, the 9-year veteran from California, 6'5", 250, came leaping through and forced the Falcons into a punting situation. Only the second time, by the way, that the Bills will touch the football here in the first quarter. We've got about, well, we're under 3 minutes now left to go in the first quarter after Buffalo has gone 65 yards in just 5 plays for their leading touchdown.
Joe Clibbs is back at the 30-yard line, the leading punt return man, and John James at the 15-yard line. 2:40 remaining in the first quarter. James has averaged 38.5 yards. High kick, good for coverage. And it takes an Atlanta bounce, and it's down there at the 35-yard line. Frank Reed, so the Buffalo Bills will take over. Both teams tied for first place. The Bulls trying to win their 7th and 9 after that 35-yard punt. They'll take over 1st and 10.
Super automotive values from Sears. Get power to start. Get power to spare. Get the Sears 48. Now only $44.99 with trade-in, our lowest price of the year. You save $10. The Road Handler tires are on sale. Save 20% on Sears Best Radio for large or small cars, like the Road Handler for compact cars, as low as $34.36 each. At Sears, where America shops for value.
Company's coming, so save at Sears pre-holiday home improvement sale. Get this Craftsman gas chainsaw that's lightweight yet powerful. Now $189.98 including case. Save $45. This Sears Best Craftsman 10-inch table saw, miters, bevels, rips, and crosscuts, and has a motor that develops 2 horsepower. Now $299.99 with leg set and extensions. Save $120. On sale now at Sears, where America shops for value.
See the cheerleaders go from the sidelines to the front lines in the battle of the NFL cheerleaders. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Dick Stockton and Jim Kelly from Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. The Bills have the ball at the 36-yard line, 1st and 10, and leading the Falcons 7-0. Frank Lewis, who caught the touchdown pass, wide right, and Jerry Butler split to the left. Long count by Ferguson, and here is the fullback, bobbled it, and then is thrown for a loss. Buddy Curry caught Curtis Brown, who did the smart thing by making sure he had possession of the ball. Forget about the yardage, and Curtis Brown, carrying for the first time in the game, second in rushing on the club with 230 yards, is stopped for a loss. Reggie McKenzie, playing in his 125th consecutive regular season game. He was a great blocker for O.J. Simpson, doing the same for Joe Cribbs, who, of course, leading the Bills in just about everything. And these are Ferguson's statistics thus far this year. He's the Bills' career passing leader in every category except for interception. 2nd and 14. After that loss, Lewis in motion. The ball at the 32-yard line. And a play-action pass, an effective one. And the pass drilled and complete to Jerry Butler, and a first down at the 48-yard line. And Ferguson rifled that to Jerry Butler, who got open downfield. And that's what Ferguson has been doing so far in this game, a 17-yard pickup.
Dick, as you take another look, did he look at any other direction other than Kenny Johnson, 37, again, the rookie from Mississippi State? He's got him all the way, finds his receiver right there. Again, just goes down about 15 yards, a simple square-out pattern. Johnson laying about 5 yards off the ball and the wide receiver. First down, Buffalo. They're on the move again. We've got a change at the left.
Player being taken off the field. We'll check that for you in a moment. Looks like it might be Mike Zealy, number 63. That's who it is, the nose tackle. Second year from Kent State and a 5th-round draft choice last year. So it's 1st and 10 now for the Bills, who so far are passing at will against the Falcons. They're at their own 49-yard line. Just over a minute remaining in the first quarter. Frank Lewis comes in motion. Cribbs looking for room, gets nothing, and good force play by the strong safety Bob Glazebrook, number 36, who had help along with Jeff Yates, number 79. Jeff Yates, veteran from Boston College, who's from Tonawanda, New York, playing for the Atlanta Falcons.
Some heated tempers down there about the midfield stripe. Reggie McKenzie, number 67, is in at left guard. Tim Vogler, number 65, is out. The second-year man from Ohio State there, checking to a hamstring injury now on Mr. Vogler. Falcons must be concerned, I think, Dick. Lehman Bennett told us before the game that his team has never played especially well following a big emotional win. That's certainly what they had last week against the Rams. And after the interception, they appear to be a little flat.
2nd and 8 at the 49-yard line. And the pitch goes to Brown. Brown cuts inside, has open field. He has a first down and more. And Curtis Brown is trapped inside the 20-yard line at the 19 before Al Richardson, the linebacker, makes the stop. And what we're seeing right now is Joe Ferguson mixing his plays beautifully, using Cribbs as a decoy, drilling the passes, and watch this run by Curtis Brown.
Will Grant, Conrad Dobler, Joe Devlin over on the right side opened up the big hole. Brown rambles down for big yardage. Another Buffalo Bill first down inside the 20-yard line. Big hole over there on the right side. And Ferguson mixing up his plays perfectly.
And Jerry Butler with a good block. The wide receiver with a superb block. That's the end of the first quarter. Buffalo leading and driving against the Falcons here before a delighted throng at Rich Stadium.
Lincoln Mercury introduces the totally new Lynx. Its hemispherical head engine, advanced transmission, and aerodynamic shape combine to produce exceptional fuel efficiency. Starting today, the world belongs to an American car. Starting today, the world belongs to Lynx.
I make one trick shot in a light beer commercial, and everybody thinks they know how to shoot pool. So these guys decided to take me on to shoot a little pool and drink a little light beer from Miller. Because it's less filling.
It's great.
Less filling.
Let's quit talking and start chalking.
You break, Bubba.
Yeah. Sure, I haven't broken anything all day.
Hey, Mickey, what happened?
It's a mystery to me. You show him, Rodney.
Yeah, show
You guys got me all wrong. I think light tastes great too. But when you're shooting pool, the only thing you want to get filled up is the pot. 14 6-ball combination.
Steve, how do you do that?
Practice, practice, practice.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The NFL on CBS. Today's game is sponsored by Ford Trucks. The trucks built Ford tough and built for fuel economy. And by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
Stockton and Jim Kelly, and that's what Ferguson has done thus far. 1st and 10 at the 19, and as Jim has accurately pointed out, they have worked on Kenny Johnson, the cornerback, hasn't gone to Rollin Lawrence's side at all. Let's see what happens here. 7-0 Bills. Ferguson goes to the other side to Butler, out of bounds. Rollin Lawrence forced him out of bounds. What a good play.
Dick, you know the stats on Joe Ferguson. He's now 5 out of 6 in the passing department. Just a quick turnout there for Butler. Great speed to number 80, the second-year man out of Clemson. He would have had another touchdown, except that Butler fell down after he had beaten Kenny Johnson down about the 5-yard line. So he could be 6 out of 6 right now.
Mark Bramer, number 86, who has everything but speed. The rookie from Michigan State, picked on the 3rd round, comes in as a second tight end. By the way, that run by Curtis Brown of 30 yards was the longest rush from scrimmage for the Buffalo Bills this year. 2nd and 4 at the 13. Opening moments, 2nd quarter. Bills threatening to go up again. 7-0 Buffalo. Cribbs trying to go outside. Has McKenzie blocking for him, and he's going to make it for the touchdown. Reggie McKenzie paved the way, and Joe Cribbs has scored his 11th touchdown of the year. He went into this game tied with Billy Sims with 10. For Cribbs, it is his 10th touchdown rushing. He's caught 1 TD pass, and he gets a well-deserved hug from Jerry Butler, who made the key block on Brown a moment ago.
From the end zone, watch the power sweep. Watch 67 Reggie McKenzie. Watch the block he throws down about the 4-yard line right here. He wipes out 2 Atlanta Falcons. Cribbs goes in untouched. Joe coming off a 100-yard game last week as the Buffalo Bills put away the New England Patriots.
And it was a big game for him because he had fumbled 3 times against Miami the week before, was coming off a downer, and his teammates encouraged him, and he came back, and that's the mark of a good player. Nick Mickemeyer attempt the point after, Hum holding for the Bills. And the kick is perfect. So 9 seconds into the 2nd quarter, the Buffalo Bills score again, and that's got to put Atlanta into the hole, and we can expect Bartkowski to go to the air more as Buffalo leads Atlanta 14-0.
Here's another Radio Shack telephone sensation, and lucky you, it's on sale for only $39.88. Super small size, and the push-button dial has a memory button that automatically redials busy numbers. Of course, it has an extra long 16-foot cord. And watch this. Its hang-up is a put-down. You save even more when you own your own phone. And it's built and sold only by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
What happened to him?
He was in a car accident.
With a massive chest injury, fluid builds up, and that could suffocate a patient. Chest drainage is critical at this time. We use a system with a single collection jar made out of an almost shatterproof plastic developed by Phillips Petroleum.
Let's do another X-ray.
And that's important.
Because replacing broken jars takes time. And some patients don't have much time.
Phillips Petroleum. Good things for cars and the people who drive them.
Well, I guess Green Bay isn't the worst team in the league, and Pittsburgh may still have some problems.
Who do you think the folks in Houston are cheering for there? And in Cleveland, the Browns and the Bears tomorrow night.
There you're looking at Ray Strong, who's only 5'9", weighs 184 pounds. Anthony Anderson was tried earlier on 2 kickoffs, and Nickemeyer kicking off for the 3rd time in the game. It's short and over in. And it's going to be Strong, and I think they got their signals crossed. Anderson looked like he was going to field the kickoff, and Strong might have felt that way and bobbled it. But fortunately for the Falcons, they held on to the ball.
Dick, 3 times the Buffalo Bills have kicked off. 3 times the Atlanta Falcons have made mistakes that hurt them. The first time, Anthony Anderson fielded the ball in the end zone about 5 yards deep and ran it out when he shouldn't have. They started 1st and 10 from their own 13-yard line. Here's Nick Nickemeyer. He said, oh, nuts, we just missed recovering that ball and could have put him away a little bit early. The second time, Anderson fumbled the ball about the 5-yard line. They started with bad field position. This time they get a break.
But Atlanta does not have good field position. That's what they need at the 21-yard line. Play action, and Bartkowski going to the air, and he has an open man, Wallace Francis. Check that, Alfred Jenkins has a first down at the 45-yard line. So Alfred Jenkins, who has now caught a pass in 66 consecutive games, is brought down by Shane Nelson, the linebacker.
And that time, as you take a look at Alfred Jenkins walking back to the huddle, he did exactly what Butler on the other side's been doing for the Buffalo Bills. Turned around the corner man, Charles Rones from North Carolina Central, and it's a big first down for the Falcons, who, as we have told you, have not generally played well following an emotional win. Last week, they upset the Rams on that last-minute touchdown toss, 13-10. They're tied with Los Angeles in the NFC West.
24-yard pickup. Jenkins leads the Falcons in yardage per catch, 1st and 10 at the 46. They need to drive more. Bartkowski is going deep, and it's up for grabs. Incomplete. Intended for Junior Miller, who went downfield. Steve Freeman defending on the play. Miller was not a starter this year. He reported to camp late, was a holdout, had a dislocated finger. McKeska was the starting tight end when the season began, but he has progressed so fast. Junior Miller, the top tight end picked, 7th player chosen. So it'll be 2nd and 10 now at the 46-yard line, and coming in the game, Rufus Bess for the Buffalo Bills at the nickel defense, and Mike Kadish comes in as a 4th down lineman.
Hard not to find Junior Miller, 6'4", 235 when he's rambling down there. That time Bartkowski looking at him the whole way. Had he looked off though, Dick, Wallace Francis was open down at the 30-yard line.
Miller wide left. They use him now as a wide receiver. Alfred Jenkins split to the right, and Wallace Francis in the slot. Pressure on Bartkowski, and down he goes. Fred Smerlas, number 76, and you don't expect the nose tackle to make the sack. But someone else opened the way for Fred Smerlas, who some people are saying may be the top nose tackle in the National Football League right now.
6'3", 270, loops. They had a stunt on, comes from the right side. Bartkowski's looking to the left side, and in the grasp of Mr. Smerlas, as in Fred, and down he goes. The 2nd-year man from Boston College, and he's a good one. Another look.
You'll see the pressure, and let's see Kadish, and they had a game on. They switched, and Smerlas came in. No one picked him up, and I think Dave Scott was the guilty party that forgot to pick up Fred Smerlas, so a loss on the play. It is 3rd and 20. And the whistle blows. The play does not count. The whistle blew. There's a penalty marker downfield in the secondary.
Got to be delay of game.
That's what it is. Delay of game called against Atlanta. So it'll be 3rd and 25. And now Bartkowski doesn't have much to choose from, and perhaps to just get out of some deep trouble and kick the ball away.
Delay of the game. Offense.
3rd and 25.
3rd down.
Well, last week,
cut on Bartkowski's nose.
Last week in this situation, he went to Wallace Francis on 3rd and 48, and then that touchdown toss that you showed us at the beginning of the telecast to Alfred Jackson as they beat the Rams on 2 plays.
Rufus Bess is the 5th defensive back. Kadish is in there along with Smirlis at tackles. And so far, it looks like the 4-down line arrangement has worked for the Buffalo Bills. Francis, 89, and Jackson, 85, along with Alfred Jenkins, number 84, the wide receivers. 3rd and 25. Bills look for pass. Put on some good pressure. Bartkowski fires, and it is low and incomplete. The pass intended for Jenkins. Charles Romes covering on the play, and it'll be 4th down, and the Falcons just can't get it going. They had that one successful pass to Jenkins downfield, and that's all, and so John James will come in and punt for the second time.
And as Dick pointed out, good pressure by the front four of the Buffalo Bills. Going back to that Rams game last week, Dick, one of the problems the Los Angeles Rams had, I felt as I watched the game, the fact that they went with just 3 rushers. You go to the nickel defense, you put in all the secondary men, you put absolutely no pressure on a passer of Bartkowski's ability. He's going to find the open man, but the Buffalo Bills have been rushing 4, and they've been getting away with it, getting some good heat, and the quarterback sack the key in that drive.
The snap pass, and James kick. You saw Cribbs deep. He's at the 29. Tries to make an outside move, and coming in and hitting him there, number 27, Tom Pridemore. But the Bills will start from the 30-yard line. And it's been a Buffalo ball game thus far. 14-0. Ferguson to Frank Lewis, an 11-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. And on the first play of the second, Cribbs ran 13 yards. That's our score with 12:55 remaining in the half.
Introducing the Cougar XR7. It's available with more than 60 special features that let you create something special. The Cougar XR7 from Lincoln Mercury. It's not like everybody else's car.
On nuclear proliferation, a candidate must remember what he has said.
When Governor Reagan has been asked about that, he makes a very disturbing comment that non-proliferation or the control of the spread of nuclear weapons is none of our business.
I have never made the statement that he suggested about nuclear proliferation.
I just don't think that it's any of our business. Unilaterally, the United States seemed to be the only nation in the world.
Which Ronald Reagan should we believe?
Monday on Flo, Crooked Farley's running for office, and Flo's about to run him out of the Yellow Rose.
Farley's never met a man whose money he didn't like.
Monday on the new season of Flo.
We're looking at the Buffalo sideline. Chuck Knox is the head coach. There's one of the assistants with the headset on right now. At the 36-yard line, 1st and 10. Curtis Brown, who ran 30 yards earlier, is hemmed in and will barely get back to the line of scrimmage. Ferguson so far is 5 for 6 for 71 yards and 1 touchdown. And right now he has the Falcons, Jim, guessing because he is running when they expect him to pass and vice versa.
You mentioned that this is the 3rd meeting between the Falcons and the Buffalo Bills. In the 2 previous meetings, even though Joe Ferguson comes in here with a 58% pass completion ratio, both of the games against the Falcons, he was held to under 100 yards passing.
Good point. Jerry Butler, number 80, wide left. The only wide receiver split for Ferguson. 2nd and 8 at the 33. Play action to Cribbs, and then the pass. Butler has it at the 35, hit immediately. Another first down. And guess to which side? As Jim has been pointing out, accurately, Kenny Johnson, number 37 side. And he's getting more help over there now. 12-yard pickup.
Rick Bias, 38, the man this time that was laying off. You take a look, the 7-year veteran from Wayne State, 5'9", 180, playing exactly the way Kenny Johnson is, laying 5-6 yards off Jerry Butler. You cannot do that. Another Buffalo Bill first down. Ferguson, the hot hand early.
Bias had a broken wrist early in the season. Achilles tendon injuries last year in his 7th year, and has played safety as well as cornerback. 1st and 10 at the 45. Cribbs outside, and watch Joe Cribbs put on the speed, and we'll have a penalty at midfield and maybe holding against the Buffalo Bills. We'll wait. Joe Cribbs turning the corner and showing the speed he has at 5'11", 190 pounds.
Ball Baltimore has just gone out in front over Kansas City in Kansas City. Burt Jones, a touchdown pass of 7 yards to Don McCauley, and Kansas City led it 3-0 on a Nick Lowry field goal. Since then, the Colts have scored 2 touchdowns at 14-3 in the second quarter. Colts over the Chiefs.
That holding penalty will nullify a good run by Cribbs. It would have been a first down, and let's pick it up from Chuck Heberling what the penalty is. It's holding.
Holding. Offense, number 82. First down.
Frank Lewis, the wide receiver, was holding downfield. As you look at the score that Jim has just mentioned, Colts leading Kansas City. They were upset by St. Louis last week. First and 15 now at the 40. Butler split left, Frank Lewis wide right. 14-0. The Bills lead the Falcons. Plenty of time to go second quarter. Plenty of time. Over the top. It's complete to the tight end, Reuben Gant. And they get some of that yardage back.
First time that Ferguson has called Reuben Gant's number 88 this time in the ballgame. 6'4", 225, the outstanding tight end.
He's had knee problems, and that's why he's been limited. And so Mark Raymer, who started his first game ever as a rookie last week against New England, has seen a lot of action. Raymer, number 86, replaced him. Buddy Curry made the tackle. 2nd and 7 at the 48. Ron Jesse, number 81, comes in now. So 3 wide receivers for the Bills at 2nd and 7. Out of the shotgun, as the Bills do on long yardage. Penalty marker down, pass complete to Jesse. His second reception of the game, but a penalty marker down back where Ferguson was unleashing. Buddy Curry makes the tackle, and we have another holding penalty, the second in the series against the Bills. First one was against Frank Lewis.
Ferguson is hot. Offensive line giving him lots of time to throw. Maybe the holding is a reason for some of that time. Ferguson in his previous 2 games against the Atlanta Falcons, 15 of 33 for about 45% completion ratio. No touchdowns, 191 yards in the 2 games, and he had thrown 1 interception, but the key stat for the Buffalo Bills.
Holding. Offense, number 20. Third down.
This was Joe Cribbs, so trying to see number 20, Joe Cribbs, holding in the backfield. And there, I think, on the upper part of your screen, you saw him as Al Richardson, the linebacker, was held on the play by Joe Cribbs, number 20, and you got a good view of it there as the penalty was called.
Cribbs kind of had his arms wrapped around Richardson.
2nd and 17 at the 38 now.
Interesting, Dick. 2 holding calls against the Bills, one on a wide receiver, the other on a running back. You don't see that.
You expect the offensive line to be guilty there. And there's a draw play to Joe Cribbs, cutting his way, trying to find room. He gets to the 38-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 15. And fumble as well. Did the whistle blow?
That Pittsburgh score now. Terry Bradshaw, a 6-yard touchdown pass to Lynn Swann. First time that both have been healthy since early in the season. Again, the Steelers have lost 3 in a row. That's the first time that has happened since 1976.
Both sides are pointing. The Falcons and the Bills saying they've recovered. Haven't gotten an official call yet from Chuck Heberling, but apparently Atlanta has recovered. Their offensive team is coming back on. I still haven't seen the official call.
Well, the public address announcer thought he saw it. They have given it over to the Atlanta Falcons.
Now they make the signal. So this is going to be Atlanta's best opportunity at the Buffalo 40-yard line. They have been totally stymied thus far by Buffalo's defense. 14-0 as you look at Tampa Bay leading the Giants. So it's 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. 10:20 remaining in the second quarter. Falcons have come back before. In motion, Lynn Kane with 1 setback. Bartkowski, Junior Miller, and it's intercepted. Pass intercepted by Steve Freeman, the strong safety. And Freeman, trying to get loose, is still going. And he's out of bounds at the 20, and that's the second interception of the game as Bartkowski complaining to Chuck Heberling. So Freeman, who intercepted 2 of Steve Grogan's passes last week, picks off one of Bartkowski's this time. It was intended for Junior Miller and badly overthrown.
Bartkowski is still complaining. He's all the way down at about the 20-yard line, maintaining that Francis might have been held up. The ball was badly overthrown, and maybe that is why. At least Bartkowski thinks so. Bills ball when we come right back.
Hold it. Hey, guys. All right, stop fooling around. Calm down. Hold it down. I mean, this is the first Light Bay alumni picture, okay? A little respect. All right, everybody here?
Everybody who is somebody.
Oh, very clever. All right, smile, will you?
Knock it off, Billy. You need this job.
Are you guys ready? Hold it, hold it. Stay like that. Hold it. Now, just be yourselves. Calm down, calm down. Hold it.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
That your dad?
Uh-huh.
What's he doing?
Selling insurance.
Oh, what kind?
Nationwide.
Why?
Because he likes to sell good stuff.
Oh.
My mom's a nationwide agent, too.
Really?
She likes to help people.
Well, nationwide agents like to offer blanket protection for people's lives, health, homes, cars, businesses.
He cooks good hot dogs, too.
And they cook good hot dogs, too.
Nationwide is on your side.
Hi, I'm Joe Theismann. Don't remain on the sidelines this election day. Get out and vote for the candidates of your choice. Remember, your vote can make a difference. Thank you.
Steve Bartkowski was complaining to Chuck Heberling. Probably thought that Junior Miller was held, but it didn't appear that way. Just a bad pass, and so the Bills get the ball right back. 1st and 10 on their 22-yard line. 2 interceptions today. Ferguson with a 14-0 lead. Curtis Brown slides off a couple of tacklers and gets 2 or 3 yards.
Did most of that on his own. Take a look at that Chargers score now. They're at approaching halftime. And that's a big ball game for the Cincinnati Bengals. That black and blue division in the AFC. Of course, the Steelers, they're having their problems with Green Bay Packers this afternoon. The Browns play the Chicago Bears tomorrow night. That's on CBS Radio.
2nd and 6 at the 26-yard line. Reuben Gant, Mark Bramer, 2 tight ends. With 9:34 remaining in the first half. It's been all Buffalo, offensively and defensively. Here's Cripps trying to go outside. Gets by one linebacker and then is tripped up. So good pursuit by the Atlanta defense. And Cripps is out of there at about the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd. And a 6 yards. Rick Bias forcing the play from his right cornerback spot, along with Jim Laughlin, who's playing in place of the injured Fulton Kuykendall, who has a shoulder injury. They expect him to be out 2 more weeks. Laughlin, one of those 3 rookies that Jim Kelly talked about at the start of the ball game, a 4th-round draft choice from Ohio State.
3rd and shotgun time, perhaps 3rd and Jerry Butler time. Rick Bias, 38, is in at the right corner, replacing the rookie Kenny Johnson.
In motion comes Jerry Butler. 3rd and 7. Ferguson over the middle, almost intercepted off Laughlin's hand, intended for Jerry Butler. And so the rookie we were just talking about from Ohio State had an opportunity for an interception. So it's 4th down, and Greg Cater will punt for the first time in the ball game as Green Bay has regained the lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers 14-9. Cater will kick.
Lynn Dickey, a 70-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Ellis. Before that, he had one of 7 yards to Jerry Ellis.
Cater has had a rough season, but last week kicked over 36 yards against the wind. They tried to block it. Bias came in. A high kick. Rollin Lawrence is at the 41-yard line, and White Schultz dump him inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. Charles Romes was the first man to get to him. So good pursuit by the Buffalo Bills, and thus far you'd have to say that the Bills are playing the crisper football in every phase of the game. We have 9 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the first half, and it'll be Atlanta ball when we come back in a moment.
Motorcraft, Motorcraft, for sure. Motorcraft, for sure.
How do you make the great lineup of Motorcraft parts even better? You've already got batteries with Sure Power, hot firing spark plugs, and a full line of filters. So how do you make it better? Just add oil. Introducing Motorcraft Oil, formulated to stabilize oxidation and reduce wear. Rated SF, it meets the most advanced engineering standards set for the 80s. You can be sure of it.
Motorcraft, for sure.
Hi, I'm Fran Tarkenton with a great new game. It's Kenner's fantastic new live-action football. It sure beats those old blips and dots games. Play the computer or a friend. You see and control all the action. You see the tackles, you make them. There are interceptions, conversions, safeties. Live-action football makes me feel I'm back in the game. Who says I can't win the big one? Huh, guys? Electronic live-action football. New from Kenner.
Live, undefeated champion Hilmer Kenny blasts away with Villamar Fernandez for the WBA Lightweight Championship. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Lehman Bennett, who of course has worked under Chuck Knox in Kentucky, Detroit, assistant with him in Los Angeles. Opposing coaches today, 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line for the Falcons. 14-0 and nothing up the middle for William Andrews. Sherman White was right there. The Falcons cannot get anything going on the ground. And of course, when that happens, the Bills know, and they've been using really the 4-down lineman nickel back defense more than anything else today. That really cuts down your options.
Last week, when the Buffalo Bills blew out the New England Patriots 31-13, they held New England to just 148 yards overall, but only 39 yards on the ground.
70 yards for Oakland rushing, 38 against New Orleans, 86 San Diego. They specialize in holding teams under 100. You're right. 2nd and 19. A quarterback draw. Bartkowski. Smirlis makes the stop. Did not look like a mix-up. Like Bartkowski had called that play. Maybe he saw something up the middle. In any event, it didn't work.
Remember that little old tie maker used to kick for the Miami Dolphins? Well, he's still kicking down in Florida, Garo Yepremian. This time 22 yards, but this time for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're out in front over the Giants 10-0, and that's in the second quarter. Kansas City has just come back against the Baltimore Colts. Colts with 2 touchdown tosses by Burt Jones led it 14-3. It's now 14-10.
Alfred Jackson, number 85, in at wide receiver. Miller comes out. So Bartkowski at 3rd and 8 at the 43 has 3 wide receivers, trailing 14-0. And he's going to go deep down the middle for Wallace Francis. And Buffalo has intercepted again. The Bills have intercepted again at the 10-yard line. Mario Clark. And I believe that is Clark's first interception of the season. Let's check and see.
Take another look. Look at the good pass protection this time for Steve Bartkowski, who again goes for all of it, goes for the bomb. He had his other wide receiver open at about the 40-yard line, but double teamed down there, and the big INT for the Buffalo Bills. Another turnover as Clark comes up with it. Number 29 for the Buffalo Bills, and Joe Ferguson and company operate 1st and 10 at their own 11-yard line.
And he predicted last night that he would get his first interception. So the Bills have it 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Third interception of the ball game for the Bills. 17th of the season. In motion, Frank Lewis. Ferguson spins and gives to Cribbs. And he's thrown for a loss. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited.
Dick, actually the front 3 of the Atlanta Falcons has been doing a pretty good job defensively on Joe Cribbs this afternoon.
14-10, you saw the score there. 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the half. 2nd and 11. This is where Atlanta would like to force a mistake and somehow, some way get on the board before this half is over. Cribbs gets the call. Goes outside. Nothing again. Penalty marker down. We may have a holding call against Buffalo. They've been charged with 2 holding penalties thus far.
One
that could put him in the hole, Jim.
One of them called on Joe Cribbs, but this time you know it will not be he.
No. Otherwise, we've got a scoop.
There's Reggie McKenzie, number 67, the 9-year veteran from Michigan, who threw that devastating block on the touchdown carry by Joe Cribbs.
Might be on the wide receiver. We'll check and wait and see.
Kenny Johnson. You wonder why they don't double team over on the left side. This time coming out, it's Gary Butler, because obviously he's double team Butler. That leaves Frank Lewis wide open. He's already got 1 touchdown reception this afternoon.
3 wide receivers out of the shotgun, 3rd and 8 at the 13. And an inside handoff to Roland Hooks, who gets to the 15-yard line, the 3rd down specialist. Inside handoff off the shotgun, doesn't get anything.
Actually, an interesting play call there. The Bills and Chuck Knox, their brain strategist upstairs, decided to keep it on the ground, not risk the interception, not want to risk a turnover and change maybe the momentum of the game, Dick, because you've got it 14-0. You can back them up about midfield. Why risk a turnover?
Kick almost blocked. Roland Lawrence calls for a fair catch at the 46. Penalty marker down, and they'll call roughing the kicker against Greg Cater. Rough roughing the kicker against Greg Cater in Atlanta all over referee Chuck Heberling. We'll see whether he gets an Oscar for this or whether it was...
Well, you really can't...
Running into the kicker, too.
You really can't blame Atlanta for complaining because Heberling took about 10 seconds before he threw the flag and thought it over. Take another look and watch how long Heberling waits before he throws the flag. He's watching every possible movement. All right?
Pridemore.
Still no flag.
I'd have to think that he got a...
Still no flag.
Defense, first down.
Tough break for the Atlanta Falcons. You'll see it again as they came in to try to block the kick. Pridemore, and I'm sure Cater, when he saw Pridemore near him, helped the situation. There's the penalty there. And it was, you're right, it was several seconds after he hit the ball. So Buffalo maintains possession. 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Bramer and Reuben Gant are twin tight ends now.
Falcons have thrown 3 interceptions. They made one costly mistake there. The Bills get it back again.
They've done everything wrong, but they're trailing 14-0. Joe Cribbs tries to get something down the middle, and there's nothing. I've seen the Falcons earlier this year trail, and if they get good field position and can get on the board, that would change the complexion here. But the way the game is going, Buffalo is dominating and more than what the 14-0 score indicates to.
Well, again, though, the 3-4 defense, the front 3 of the Falcons and the 4 linebackers, they've been doing their job except for the 1 touchdown carry by Joe Cribb that put Buffalo out on top by a score of 14-0. It's been the secondary, as we said at the top of the telecast, that's been burned as you look at the stats on Joe Cribb, the rookie from Auburn.
2nd and 9 at the 22.
Bills haven't gotten much running inside.
Ferguson's been able to throw. He does there to Butler. Completion. It'll be 3rd and about 5 yards to go. Rollin Lawrence covering on the play, so it's 3rd and 5. We have plenty of time remaining. 5 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the first half. Ferguson threw a TD pass to Frank Lewis, 11 yards in the first quarter, and Joe Cribbs ran 13 yards the first play of the second period for the 14-0 score. Ron Jesse at number 81 comes in along with Roland Hooks 25, which is the normal shotgun offense. There's Jesse, a veteran from Kansas. He's getting single coverage. Ferguson, 3rd and 5. Lewis has it, first down at the 40-yard line, and a fumble after the catch. Buffalo apparently maintains possession, so Ferguson clicking on the 3rd down play. Buddy Curry and Rick Bias combined to make the stop, a 15-yard pickup, and when the Bills have needed it, they have gotten it on the 3rd passing situation.
Again, one-on-one single coverage that time. Take another look. 82 is Frank Lewis, 1 touchdown toss already. Ferguson from the shotgun. Look at the good pass protection by the offensive line of the Bills. Rifle arm right on the money, and right there, a simple turn-in route, and Bias makes the tackle. That time the linebacker is supposed to drop back a little bit, but they just couldn't do the job quick enough, and it's another Buffalo first down.
So right, Ferguson has gotten tremendous protection. Falcons came in with 26 sacks this year. They only had 29 last year. On a reverse, here's Jerry Butler, wide receiver. He turns it on. Butler has a first down, and finally is knocked out of bounds by Tom Pridemore and Rollin Lawrence. But you saw Jerry Butler with that great speed. Top rookie, as we mentioned last year in the AFC, scored 4 touchdowns against the Jets, and he has given the Bills a 1st and 10. 19-yard gain, and we'll see it again.
And that's a good call on first down because they've been running Joe Cribb up the middle. Now watch Butler right here. He simply outruns the blockers and outruns the Atlanta defense as he crosses midfield and gets it down to about the 42-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Frank Lewis with a key block helping him to turn the corner over there on the right side.
At the 41 of Atlanta, 1st and 10 for Buffalo, leading 14-0. Here's Curtis Brown trying to pick up some blockers. Laughlin, among others, made the hit. The running game has been virtually non-existent in this game. It's been the passing game. Ferguson has had the protection and he's clicked. Bartkowski hasn't. He's thrown the 3 interceptions.
You look at the way that Joe Ferguson uses Frank Lewis, and also he uses Jerry Butler. It reminds you of the way Terry Bradshaw uses Lynn Swann and John Stallworth.
Talking with Eddie LeBaron, the Falcons general manager, the whole game is down in distance and scoreboard. If you have the lead, you can pretty much do what you want. If you have 2nd and 3, you're in good shape. But when you start from your own 15 or 20 and it's 3rd and long, you've got trouble. 2nd and 6 now, to 37. Lewis Cribbs is open. Penalty marker down. Cribbs has it, hit immediately at the 32, short of a first down. Making the tackle was Joel Williams, number 58, but as we said, a penalty marker down. Illegal procedure called against Buffalo, so that'll bring it back.
Joe Cribbs, by the way, outstanding runner, as we have told you, but he also can catch the football. He's already caught more passes this year than he did in his last 3 years at Auburn, and he's caught at least 3 passes in all but 1 game so far this year. Ferguson not at all happy with the illegal procedure call. You saw the change in the offensive shift, the audible line.
Illegal formation, offense, 2 men moving. Second down.
Canadian football, so we're close to Canada, but not that close. And so it'll be 2nd and 11 now at the 42-yard line. I was amazed that Andrews didn't really know much about Cribbs. He blocked for him for a couple of years, and we were told that they weren't close at all. They didn't know each other at all, and perhaps the only thing they did on the field together was one blocked and the other ran. 2nd and 11 at the 42. 3:15 remaining in the first half. 14-0 Bills. Play action. And a good rush, pass to Cribbs. Good catch by Cribbs. He's inside the 40. Cribbs is out of bounds. Buddy Curry got the jersey and might have saved the first down right there, but he's awfully close. Short by about 1.5 yards, and he made a good catch on this, Jim.
3 good plays in one. Watch right here. Key to the play, Joe Ferguson eludes the rush. Second key, Joe Cribbs inside moves, goes to the outside, and then number 80 comes back and throws a key block right there to allow Cribbs to get it down near first down yardage. 3rd and short for the Buffalo Bills.
And he was in trouble. The Falcons blitzing more than they have in previous games. Put the pressure on. And that was looked like Bias coming in, number 38, on a safety blitz. So it'll be 3rd and less than 1 yard for the Bills with 3:07 to go. 2 tight ends, Gant and Bremer in there now, and up the middle. Looked like Roosevelt Leaks, who has been a great addition to the Buffalo Bills, apparently has the first down. Leaks, ex-Baltimore Colt, in there for blocking and short yardage. May have that first down. Picked up on waivers this year from the Colts, and the Bills have it 1st and 10 at the 30.
Roosevelt Leaks, 45 carries, 166 yards. As you see, 1 touchdown. Average is about 3.7 when he has been in there. It's been basically, as Dick called it, on short yardage situations.
So it's 1st and 10 at the 30. 14-0, the Bills lead. Threatening again. Jerry Butler, wide left. Frank Lewis, split right. Cribbs going wide. Curtis Brown blocking. Cribbs cuts inside and dives for a couple. Gets maybe 3 yards on the play. Jim Laughlin, number 51, the rookie from Ohio State, makes the stop. Joe Cribbs last week going over 100 yards, as Jim mentioned, for the first time this year with 118. He was the first player picked in the 2nd round. He was the 29th player selected. And a lot of clubs wish that perhaps they had gone his way, you think?
No question about it.
2 wide receivers, both to the left. 2nd and 7 at the 27. Now Lewis moves. Here 2 minutes to go. Curtis Brown cuts inside, and Brown is within 2 yards of a first down, and we will have our 2-minute warning coming up. Against the grain running today. I think we've seen it from Cribbs and also Curtis Brown, who ran 30 yards on 1 play from scrimmage. And now the Buffalo Bills are short of by 1 yard. It'll be 3rd and 1 when we come back. We have our 2-minute warning. It's been all Buffalo leading the Falcons 14-0 here at Orchard Park.
You don't have to be a genius to change your own oil and filter and save yourself up to $10. Valvoline Motor Oil shows you exactly how quick and easy it is with step-by-step change instructions on the back of Valvoline cans. It's really quite simple. Once you get the hang of it, just see for yourself, then do for yourself. No wonder more and more drivers are changing their own oil and filters and changing to Valvoline. It's a smart way to save up to 10 bananas without a lot of monkeying around. Right, Val?
I'm Mike Colbraker, State Farm Agent, Carlisle, Illinois, speaking for thousands of State Farm agents across the country. One of the many reasons people keep coming to State Farm Insurance is because we service what we sell, and we do it on a personal, one-to-one basis. Service is what State Farm is all about, and service is what State Farm agents are all about.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Monday on Flo, Crooked Farley's running for office and Flo's about to run him out of the Yellow Rose.
Farley's never met a man whose money he didn't like.
Monday on the new season of Flo.
It'll be third and less than 2 yards. Call it 3rd and 1 for the Buffalo Bills. That's the time remaining in the first half. 14-0, and a chance for the Bills to open it up. Look at the first downs. It could be 21-0 at the half. It could be a long afternoon for the Falcons.
And how devastating that statistic is, because the Bills didn't touch the ball until 8.5 minutes had been played in the first quarter.
They made it up in a hurry, didn't they? Third and a long one. Leaks and Cribbs the setbacks. 2 tight ends. And Joe Cribbs with Roosevelt Leaks blocking. And he is close. May have it. May have that first down. He was hit behind, and then on the second effort dove forward, and everything will be in where they spot the ball right here.
Interesting play call on third down. They've been running the ball 3 straight plays. Lions have just gone on top over the San Francisco 49ers. 32-yard touchdown, 32-yard field goal by Eddie Murray. Detroit 10, San Francisco 7. Now it's 4th and short, and the Bills fans are not happy with Chuck Knox's decision.
Well, he's leading 14-0, and if he makes it 17, he knows the Falcons need 3 touchdowns to take the lead in the second half. It's a pretty comfortable margin as you look at Detroit leading San Francisco 10-7. Nick Mickemeyer will attempt the field goal.
He also knows that he puts 3 on the boards, the Falcons have to come back and go up top, and his secondary has already picked off 3 Steve Bartkowski passes.
Which I think they have to come up on top anyway in the second half. That's what happens when you're behind. Mickemeyer, you see 9 for 12 field goal attempts. 4 for 5 within 40 yards.
Now you've got,
where they spot this.
You've got David Humm, an ex-quarterback, as the holder. You don't have a fake here, do you?
Well, maybe you do. That's something good to think about. Be a 37-yard attempt for Mickemeyer. And I think the Falcons are looking that way. Kick is blocked. Kick is blocked, and the Falcons are going to pick it up. Pridemore in the open field, and Tom Pridemore is out of bounds. The kick was blocked, and Tom Pridemore, and now the fans are going to second-guess Chuck Knox, because one of the things that can happen on a field goal attempt, we just saw a block, and now the Falcons have good field position with 1:43 to go.
Snap was good, spot was good, good penetration, and it looked like it might have been the rookie, Kenny Johnson, who got through there. Pridemore picks it up, and look who makes the tackle, number 5 for the Buffalo Bills, Nick Mickemeyer. They came in from the left side, as you look.
Maybe they should have listened to you and gone with the fake. So the kick is blocked, and now the Falcons have it 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 46. And how would they love to get on the board before this half is over?
And they go back to the 3-4 with the nickel defense.
Bartkowski can't find a receiver, but he's got time, and here comes the rush. Ben Williams was the first to get him, and Sherman White put the seal on. And for that play, you can credit the secondary and the linebackers for just smothering the Atlanta Falcon receivers.
That time the 3-4 worked. That's some of the criticism of the 3-4, though. In an obvious passing situation, you can't put enough pressure on the passer. Bartkowski this time with all kinds of time. In fact, they're double teaming all 3 of the front 3 right there. And finally, Bartkowski just runs out of options because, as Dick said, the secondary and the linebackers of the Buffalo Bills, the remaining 8 then, if you will, had the secondary and the seams covered.
Jim, remember that timeout Bartkowski called early? Could come back to haunt him. He just called another one. That leaves him with only 1 with 1:35 remaining. And the ball now back out of Buffalo territory to the Falcons 42. 1 timeout remaining for the Falcons. They just can't seem to get it going. When they need the big play, they don't get it. A 12-yard loss there. Ben Williams and Sherman White have done a tremendous job this year with the pass rush. Nelson and Haslett stopping the run inside along with Smerlis. The Bermuda Triangle, they call them, as Jim Kelly mentioned earlier. And that's our time remaining in the half.
Well, Bartkowski is confirmed with Lehman Bennett, former assistant under Chuck Knox at Los Angeles, as Dick has told you. There is the score. Buffalo, a 13-yard run by Joe Cribbs, and a touchdown pass from Joe Ferguson to Frank Lewis. And 3 Atlanta interceptions that had been thrown by Steve Bartkowski, and that's the story of your first half.
2nd and 22, the ball at the 42-yard line, and they have to get to the 36 of Buffalo.
Not a bad time for the Bills to come to the blitz.
Francis and Jackson and Jenkins, the wide receivers, and here they come. And the toss up the middle to Alfred Jackson. Or check that, Wallace Francis. And Francis is tackled at the 44-yard line. They get a good deal of that back. Mario Clark makes the tackle, and he wants him to line up in a hurry. Clock continues to run with 1 minute and 18 seconds remaining in the half. Keep in mind the Falcons have but one timeout remaining. Jackson is wide right. Francis and Jenkins to the left. Bartkowski back again. He has time, and he drills it up the middle, and a great catch by Alfred Jenkins, and Jenkins is still going and out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Charles Rose makes the play, so Bartkowski with two big pass plays to Wallace Francis and Alfred Jenkins. We have exactly a minute remaining in the first half, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons and a chance to get on the board.
What a job Alfred Jackson, number 84, did just to hang on to the football. Take another look. Steve Bartkowski afforded lots of time for the Atlanta Falcons. Back there, hangs in the pocket, now moves out just a little bit, throws it right on the rope, and what a grab by Jackson down there. Simple post and a crossing pattern. Take a look, isolated now. As you go one-on-one, the Buffalo Bills defender Charles Rome beaten there. Now he makes the move on the post pattern, and no help on the play. First down, Atlanta.
Beyond the 10-yard line, they can get a first down without scoring. The Falcons trailing the Bills 14-0. Bartkowski fires it away, and that almost, if Romes had been 6 inches taller, but an interception. Wallace Francis, the intended receiver, and I think he ran a different pattern.
He pulled up short down about the goal line. Bartkowski looking in the left corner of the end zone all the way. Francis pulled up short and wanted to turn inside. The defender was there, and otherwise it would have been a very risky pass.
Jim, amazing the way the fortunes have changed in this game. It looked like Buffalo might be in front 21-0 and 17 if they would have clicked with the field goal. Atlanta's hoping that maybe it could be 14-7, but anything on the board would be a plus for the Falcons now. Jenkins 84, Francis 89, wide left. Jackson 85, wide to the right. Andrews the lone setback, and in motion comes Junior Miller. 2nd and 10 at the 11-yard line. Bartkowski looking for a receiver, and in the end zone, out of bounds, intended for Alfred Jenkins. Bill Simpson was defending, but he caught the pass and was out of the end zone, so it'll be 3rd and 10, and now the pressure mounts for Atlanta.
You take another look. They simply crisscrossed that time. Number 89, Wallace Francis, and number 84, Alfred Jenkins. Bartkowski going to the deeper of the two backs. You look at Wallace Francis down about the 5-yard line. He goes for the touchdown, and the ball just slightly overthrown. Wouldn't have counted because he was out of bounds, even without the impetus supplied by the defender.
Now the Bills go with the 4-down lineman with Kadish, number 71, in there, and Rufus Best, 28, is the nickel back. And Junior Miller goes out of the game, and Lynn Kane, 21, comes in. Alfred Jackson goes way wide left, 85. Jenkins split right. Big play, 3rd and 10 at the 11 with 49 seconds to go in the first half. Bartkowski fires, incomplete. Intended for Jenkins, and tremendous defense by Mario Clark, who stayed with Jenkins step for step and knocked that one away, and it's 4th down. Isaiah Robertson put some pressure on, and now Tim Mazzetti will come in and put Atlanta hopefully on the board for them.
Step for step and stride for stride. You look at Bartkowski now. He fires it right on the money, incomplete, and it was Jenkins saying maybe pass interference, but no. All three officials, they had a little pyramid of their own formed around the receiver and the defender, and they waved it off simultaneously.
Tim Mazzetti, who suffered a pulled groin muscle earlier this week. James will hold for Mazzetti. It'll be a 28-yard attempt. Perfect from this range so far this year. The kick is up, and it is good. It was angling to the left, and it was close, and the crowd had their hopes alive, but the kick is good for Mazzetti, who is now 6 for 6 from that range, and the Atlanta Falcons are on the board 14-3 with 41 seconds to go, and that's the way they played a lot of their games this year. They've been behind, they've come back, and if they get the good field position, close the game up, we can have a different story in the second half.
But again, even though they got the blocked field goal and had good field position, they only had 2 timeouts with which to work. The Buffalo defense did the job and kept them out of the end zone. 3 interceptions in the first half for the Buffalo Bills, and the Falcons have been unable to crack that goal line, so they trailed it by 11 points. And still with 41 seconds left to go in the half, the Bills will get the football back, Dick, and still have some time left on the clock.
And a good point. You'll see that the kick was tipped. It was deflected, but still made it anyway. 28-yard field goal for Mazzetti, 14-3, but you bring out a good point. The Falcons did have 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line and couldn't get in for the touchdown. Now Mazzetti will kick off.
Looks like the ball was actually deflected through the uprights. It looked like the kick was low and either hit a helmet or hit somebody in the back and caromed off to go up and through.
So Mazzetti will kick off. Deep for the Buffalo Bills, Terry Miller and Artie Owens. .41 seconds remaining in the first half. Bills have all of their timeouts remaining. And it's going to be Artie Owens at the 6-yard line. Former wide receiver from San Diego. And not a bad return to the 25-yard line. So 37 seconds to go. Clock stopped right now. Tackle made by Bob Glazebrook. So let's see what Ferguson has in mind with a 14-3. Sure, he'd like to get at least into field goal position.
Interesting to see what Chuck Knox will elect to do. They had it fourth and about the length of the football, and they went for the field goal, which was blocked that led to the Falcon field goal. Now with 37 ticks on the clock left, and the arm of Joe Ferguson, who's had the hot hand in the first half, you would expect that they would go to Frank Lewis, 82, and number 80, Jerry Butler.
Roland Hooks, 25, is in the backfield. Ron Jesse, 81, is the third wide receiver out of the shotgun at the 25-yard line. Ferguson looking, firing, it's deflected and intercepted. The pass is intercepted by Al Richardson, the rookie from Georgia Tech, and the Atlanta Falcons can score again. They're at the 17-yard line of Buffalo, and their first interception is a big one this afternoon. It's made by Al Richardson, his fourth of the season, and he leads the Falcons.
And you take a look, the ball is actually tipped by Bob Glazebrook, 36, right there. Okay, deflected up and into the waiting arms of Al Richardson, who comes up with a big INT. You wonder why Ferguson forced that ball, because Glazebrook was between he and the intended receiver.
So you can't have it both ways. If you want to sit on your 14-3 lead, that's one thing. If you want to get hungry and maybe get some more points, that's what happened.
Hey, what a difference here. If the Falcons could get the touchdown, all of a sudden you were faced with trailing 17-0, then you go in at halftime and it's only 14-10.
28 seconds to go in the first half. Atlanta has one timeout remaining. They're at the 16. Bartkowski going for Junior Miller. Touchdown! Junior Miller, a touchdown. And the Atlanta Falcons have quieted the crowd here at Rich Stadium. A touchdown pass to Junior Miller, his 6th of the season. 16 yards, and the Falcons very much are back in the ball game.
Simple crossing pattern. You see Junior Miller, number 80, lined up at the tight end spot. He runs the out pattern. They had Wallace Francis turning in. They spun him around, and the man beaten on the play, Steve Freeman, the 6-year man from Mississippi State, number 22, who had an interception so far this afternoon. And just like that, one play later, Falcons right back in this football game.
James will hold for Mazzetti, who could bring the Falcons to within 4 of the Bills, and we have had a lot of scoring action in the last minute of this ball game. 22 seconds remain, and the point after is good, and that's a 14-10 game. So the Falcons, who were dormant and quiet, thanks mostly to the superb play in every phase by the Buffalo Bills, have come back and trail 14-10, and you can hear a pin drop here at Rich Stadium.
It took 17 seconds. We were just talking, there were 39 seconds left to go in the first half, and the Bills had the ball, and we were wondering if they were going to open up.
So the Bills are finding themselves in a ball game now, and the breaks can turn things around. The deflection by Glazebrook, the interception by Al Richardson. Earlier, the Bills picked off 3 of Bartkowski's passes, and Bartkowski now with 16 touchdown passes. He holds the Atlanta club record with 17. He's not really had a bad game all year, and he spread his passes around, as we've seen today. The scoring drive, one play, the 16-yard TD pass that took only 6 seconds.
Care to speculate as to whether or not Buffalo will throw the ball with 22 seconds to go?
Cribbs is deep. Well, they might with 22 seconds to go, but they have to get it deep enough downfield. They didn't get it deep enough last time. They intercepted and had good field position. The Falcons finally clicked. That's going to really help them during the halftime, I think.
If you're Atlanta, an omen of things to come had to be the fact that that field goal that looked like it was going to be short was actually deflected through the uprights, and the fortunes turned right there.
All right, Mazzetti kicks off to Cribbs. Cribbs, 2 yards in the end zone, will play it safe.
If that ball bounces on the other end of the football, it bounces out about a yard. Mr. Cribbs has got to cover that football quickly.
There again is that very brief scoring drive by the Falcons. Back in the game at 14-10.
Can't be much briefer. I would expect the Bills simply to run out the clock here with 22 seconds because because the momentum has obviously gone the way of the Falcons in the last minute and a half ever since the Bills had that field goal block. And they had been completely dominant, even though Atlanta had the football for 8.5 minutes in the first quarter before Buffalo touched it. Then Joe Ferguson drove the Bills 65 yards in 5 plays, the last of which was a touchdown toss to Frank Lewis.
Ron Jesse, number 81, is playing back in the crowd, booing the decision to run out the clock. Great thing about the crowds, right? They always have a chance to second guess you.
They didn't actually run out the clock. He fell down in the clock. Ferguson took the ball and went to his knees trying to say, okay, we'll regroup at halftime.
Well, that'll be it for the first half. And it's a sour ending for the Buffalo Bills fans here. And the Atlanta Falcons have definite hopes. Keep in mind, these teams went into this game tied for first place in their respective divisions. And the Buffalo Bills jumped in front 14-0. Superb defense, 3 interceptions, pressure on Bartkowski. Falcons couldn't run. Meanwhile, Buffalo was moving the ball at will through the air. They had the big rush when they needed it. And then, of course, things changed. And Atlanta got on the board with a field goal and a late touchdown following an interception. And the score is 14-10 at halftime. And that is the end of the first half here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Dick Stockton and Jim Kelly reporting the score. Buffalo 14, Atlanta 10.
We're here with the premier of Blastovia at this typical American farm where he's taking a tour today, and he's asking about the farmer's pickup. The interpreter tells him that it's an 81 Ford. The premier wants to drive the Ford.
Yes, so good as guess, Smiley.
Well, this year, Ford has the best estimated MPG ever achieved by a 6-cylinder pickup. What?
He says your American roads are rough.
Well, Fords are built tough. How do you like the Ford, Mr. Premier?
He's like my wife. Tough, but very good looking.
We want to make you smile.
Look out.
I played to his backhand.
We're gonna make you smile.
Holiday Inn offers you the widest choice of the most popular resort locations.
I saw that.
Come to Holiday Inn where your smile says we're number one of people pleasing.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Time's just right. That'll be a full moon. Hardly any wind. And the Lowenbrow's cold. Sure beats the office.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Sure hope the fish don't bother us.
Sunday, in a special 1-hour season premiere of Archie Bunker's Place, Edith is gone. What is Archie going to do? Then on the season premiere of Alice, Mel hits the jackpot of his life. And it's a mad marathon on the season premiere of The Jeffersons, when Tom and George get set to race.
Chicken legs.
Hippo hips. Then an all-new show from the award-winning Body Human series, The Sexes Part 2. Exciting and all-new shows Sunday night.
This is a CBS News special report. Reporting from New York, here is Walter Cronkite.
Good afternoon. The Iranian parliament has set conditions for release of the 52 American hostages, and the White House is considering them. The parliament's vote came early today. Its demands non-interference in Iran's domestic affairs, return of the late Shah's wealth, the lifting of the freeze on Iranian assets in this country, and the withdrawal of private lawsuits by American companies against those assets. According to experts, the financial conditions may be difficult to meet immediately. President Carter broke off his political campaign in Chicago when the word came, flew back to Washington, and he's been meeting with his advisors almost uninterruptedly since then. Tehran Radio said the hostages could be released either in one group or in 4 groups, one group as each condition is met. And there were hints in the parliament's action that it might only be necessary for the United States to pledge to meet the conditions in order to begin the hostage release. In Tehran, the former Foreign Minister Sadek Ghotbzadeh told CBS News by phone that conceivably the first hostages could be freed in a few days.
I believe as soon as the United States government has announced and made the first condition met, immediately by the plane which apparently has been prepared by government or some intermediary. The first parts of them will be released either on Wednesday or Thursday.
Secretary of State Muskie said the United States is sticking by its policy that a phased hostage release is not acceptable. They should come out together, he said. Muskie said President Carter would make no decision until he sees a complete and official translation of today's actions in the Iranian parliament. This is Walter Cronkite in New York.
This has been a CBS News special report. CBS News is standing by to bring you further developments as they occur.
Back live now at our CBS Sports Control. I'm Brent Musburger with Irv Cross. It has been more than a decade since the Pittsburgh Steelers have lost 4 games in a row, but today they are in trouble against Green Bay. The Packers assaulted themselves with a snap over the punter's head for a 2-point safety, but then they came right back as Lynn Dickey Irv went to James Lofton here for 30 yards.
Boy, I tell you, that guy's quite a weapon, Brent. Dickey's had a good first half, throwing 9 for 19 times, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and we're going to have one of them cranked up here pretty soon.
Exactly, to Gary Ellis. And watch the one-handed grab in the end zone for 6. And Irv, here comes a second bad snap.
Boy, I tell you, it's really important, of course. Special teams play is about 1/3 of all plays in the National Football League, and you have to have clean plays.
And from there, it was Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, 42nd time. That great connection is hooked for a touchdown. But then, watch this sequence, and really here, Irv, you've got to wonder about the Steeler defense. Dickey to Ellis.
Well, I tell you, Ellis demonstrates good speed here. He's right in the middle of the soft spot of the zone, and the big guy weighs about 215 pounds or so, simply outruns the secondary. What an effort.
Now, elsewhere, 14-10. Many of you watching this game. Yes, Joe Cribbs has done it again. Scores on a 3-yard run. Ferguson has gone 11 yards to Frank Lewis. Bartkowski, though, rallying the Falcons 16 yards to Junior Miller. And the Packers leading the Steelers at the half. 14-9 is the count there. Kansas City comes storming back after Jones threw 2 touchdown passes, 18 yards to McCall, 7 to McCauley. Then it was Belton 8 yards and Steve Fuller on a 7-yard run. Tampa Bay shutting out the lowly Giants, 23-0 at the half. Williams has just gone 25 yards to Mike Schumann, whom the Bucs picked up from the San Francisco 49ers. San Diego 17, Cincinnati 7. Fouts goes 11 yards to Kellen Winslow for his lone touchdown pass in that sequence. And Detroit leading San Francisco 10-7. Danielson 41 yards to Billy Sims, and James Owens returned to kick off 101 yards. Murray with a 32-yard field goal, and the St. Louis Cardinals lead the Dallas Cowboys 7-0 on a 1-yard run by Wayne Morris. So it was Atlanta-Buffalo. The 2 teams tied for first place in their respective divisions. Watch now as Bartkowski pulls out, and here comes Isaiah Robertson, who's got a little fancy action to follow up with.
Isaiah still has it going. He's a pretty good linebacker with good range and picks that one off. And, of course, the lateral results in a big game for the Bills.
Then after that, it was Joe Ferguson to Frank Lewis.
Former Pittsburgh Steeler, by the way. Touchdown.
And here he is. Oh, is he a fine-looking rookie out of Auburn. This is his 11th touchdown.
Every once in a while, you find that diamond in the rough that really glitters, and Mr. Cribbs has it all.
But with time running down in the first half, Bartkowski went up on top, and his brilliant tight end, Junior Miller, had it. Now it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the ball, and here comes Ricky Bell getting outside against the Giants, 21 yards. And again, it was Williams with time running down, and oh, did he hit Schumann beautifully. Let's now take you to the Silverdome. San Francisco, Detroit. Danielson to Leonard Thompson.
Of course, the Lions would like to run the ball and control the ball in the air, but they have a good passing attack, and of course, pretty good evidence right there. And Danielson goes to the air once again.
Think there was a defensive error here, Irv?
No doubt about it. You can't get that clear. Even Billy Sims can't get that clear.
You
right?
wouldn't have missed Sims in that sequence, right? Oh, here it is. A beautiful kickoff return by James Owens. But unfortunately, he pulls a hamstring as he gets down to about the Lions' 20-yard line.
What a big break. You don't realize how much effort it takes. Here, right there, he pulls up right there. He's limping in, goes the distance. Longest kickoff return of the year.
And that got San Francisco back in it. Then Murray kicked the field goal. Back with Roman Gabriel as the NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
Few would argue that getting the mentally retarded out of institutions is the humane thing to do. But suppose they moved in next door to you. Watch 60 Minutes tonight on CBS.
Welcome back to our studio in New York. And you know, sometime or other, every coach has a game that becomes a nightmare. A game when nothing goes right for his team and everything goes right for the other guys. Now, that nightmare became a reality for a man whose career has had one success after another. Remember this quarterback, number 18, Roman Gabriel, threw over 200 touchdown passes in his career, including this one that George Allen will never forget. The Rams beat the Green Bay Packers in 1967. And 10 years after that, Roman Gabriel retired. Then Roman was named the head coach at Cal Poly Pomona. That school is located a little bit less than an hour east of Los Angeles. And his Division II Broncos started out the season pretty well. They were 500 after 6 games, and that's good for that school. But then Roman took the team into Portland State, where they lost. They lost 93-7.
I don't ever recall quite having an experience like we had at Portland State. We received the kickoff, and then our first offensive series, we handed off to one of our backs, and he got hit pretty good and lost the ball, and they recovered, and as the score indicates, we were very explosive, so we gave him an opportunity to score very quickly, and we were down, and then from there it just kept snowballing.
93-7. It was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, 58-0 at the half. So what does Coach Roman Gabriel say to the team in the locker room?
At halftime of the game, I probably said some things to our ball club that I would say to professional football players.
He was a little embarrassed because of us.
Guys were so mad that they were literally trying to just take it out on the man over them.
Everybody got pretty frustrated and awful mad, kicking the neck, watching the ball go all the time.
You can make a case that Portland State ran it up on Gabriel, but Roman's trying not to look back. He's got 3 more games to play, and winning those would be his best revenge.
Oh, you'd love to play him next year, wouldn't you? I'd like to have the opportunity, especially if we could get us a few kids with a little speed that could cover some receivers, because everywhere else we match up to them pretty good. So one day we will get that opportunity, I'm sure. You remember when Custard played the Indians? He got massacred too, but he died. We got 3 more battles left, and we're still alive. There's going to be a comeback for Roman Gabriel on this team then.
We certainly hope so.
You know, Brent, I was with Gabe out in L.A. for 3 years, and he's considered one of the top quarterbacks in football. And if anybody can come back, that guy can, believe me.
Well, he did last night, even though they lost. Cal Lutheran 20, Cal Poly Pomona 13. So the Broncos at least played a lot better than they did against Portland State. And the NFL today continues as we send you back to the stadium now in the game you're enjoying.
The teams are back on the field. The Buffalo Bills, once 14-0 lead, is now 14-10. As you look at Joe Ferguson, we'll be back to take a look at halftime statistics in a moment.
Come, drive in the 4th dimension. Experience the 4-wheel drive edge of the American Eagle. Feel all 4 wheels bite into bone-dry pavement, slice through rain, eat up snow. The American Eagle takes your family with confidence where it's never been before. And introducing an all-new high gas mileage Eagle with a list price of only $59.95. Experience driving in the 4th dimension with the American Eagles from American Motors.
If the price of boots has kept you out of them, have I got news for you. Sears has genuine leather insulated boots and split suede hiking boots for just $19.99 a pair.
With lug soles, Goodyear Welt construction, glove leather or split suede leather uppers and padded collar. Special purchase, quantities limited.
At $19.99, it's tough choosing between them. But at $19.99, you really don't have to.
At Sears, where America shops for value.
That's great, son. Right on course. Hi, I'm Wallace Francis of the Atlanta Falcons, and that's my son, Ray. The time we spend together are the best part of my life. You see, I'm a single parent, and I know what it means for children to have a father in their lives. That's why I spend a lot of time here at the YMCA. They're supported by the United Way, and United Way volunteers help them with their programs.
But here, they even have a special program that brings fathers and sons together so they can really get to know each other. My contribution sponsored 10 kids at this Y. They do a lot for children who might not get the special attention they need.
The ball is really great, Dad.
That's good, son. We don't have all the answers, but I know one thing. A lot of young people would be off the course of life if it wasn't for the United Way volunteers. Thanks to them, and thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way. Way to go, Phil.
The preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. Alcoa, producer of energy-saving aluminum. And by the new Norelco Rotatract Razor.
Back at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, Dick Stockton with Jim Kelly and Tim Mazzetti getting set to kick off for the Atlanta Falcons to start the second half. The Buffalo Bills lead at 14-10, and the kick heads over towards Artie Owens' way, and it goes out of bounds, and they'll have to kick from 5 yards back. It has been an even game, not as far as the tempo. Earlier it was all Buffalo. Atlanta came on strong in the last couple of minutes, but the halftime statistics really indicate an even game, even though the Bills have outgained the Falcons in total yards.
Key statistic, obviously, you look at passing. Steve Bartkowski, 7 out of 15, but 3 interceptions. You know, that touchdown toss to Junior Miller just before the half, the first touchdown that the Atlanta Falcons have scored against the Buffalo Bills in their 2 previous meetings. Back in 1977, Buffalo shut Atlanta out, and back in 73, held them to just 2 field goals.
Mazzetti getting his shoe taped on the sideline right now. Butler caught 5 passes for 56 yards in the first half. Lewis caught the touchdown strike as Ferguson spread it around. Butler, Jesse, Lewis, and Kane and Jenkins each caught 2 passes. You look at Artie Owens, 85 to the left, and Terry Miller, number 40, on the receiving end.
You know, Dick, this crowd is still strangely quiet. They have been stunned by the 10 points that Atlanta has put on the board so quickly. They are very, very quiet to start the second half. A feeling of anxious anticipation to find out what their team's going to do.
Yeah, they haven't recovered from that field goal and then, of course, the interception and the touchdown to Miller. So Mazzetti will try it again. This time he tees it up at the 30-yard line. Buffalo Bills 6-2 on the year. The Falcons 5-3, both locked in ties in their respective division. And the kick will head to Artie Owens at the 5-yard line. And the former San Diego Charger takes off to the right side and is tackled just short of the 25. And so that's where the Buffalo Bills will take over 1st and 10. Joe Ferguson, number 12, 10 for 13, as Jim pointed out, with 121 yards and 1 interception along with the touchdown. His running backs, Joe Cribbs, number 20, who gained 33 yards and 11 carries, and Curtis Brown, number 47, who had the big gainer, a 30-yard gain, and carried the ball 6 times in the first half. The wide receivers, number 80, Jerry Butler, who caught 5, and Frank Lewis, 82. Now Gant and Mark Bramer come in 2 tight ends, so one of the wide receivers comes out, Lewis, and Butler lone split to the left. 1st and 10 at the 25 for the Buffalo Bills. Joe Cribbs being chased from behind, gets beyond the 25-yard line. Wilson Famuina, the nose tackle.
We talk about the good job that the Atlanta defense has been doing on Joe Cribbs. He had 11 carries in the first half, 33 yards. His longest was the touchdown scamper of 13 yards, which means he's only averaging 2 yards per carry beyond that. So they're doing a fine job, the front 3 and the linebacking core of the Falcons, in containing Joe Cribbs.
And they've been trying to get him loose going outside, and he hasn't really broken it there. As you look at his numbers, gain of 2, 2nd and 8 at the 27, opening minutes, 3rd quarter. And here comes Curtis Brown. Brown going wide. He's hemmed in and stopped at the 25. Roland Lawrence Lawrence, who made the tackle on Cribbs, makes the tackle once again on Curtis Brown. And now we're looking at a pretty solid, good pursuit by the Atlanta Falcons, backs and secondary. And you have a score there.
Fired up Falcon defense. Dallas was on the short end of St. Louis. The Cardinals' 1-yard run by Wayne Morris led it 7-0. Dallas has just come back. They're still now. They just started the second quarter now. A 4-yard touchdown run by Tony Dorsett. Cowboys and Cardinals deadlocked at 7.
Roland Hooks, 25, is in the game, and the shotgun formation. That means Ron Jesse, number 81, who caught his first pass of the year earlier. 3rd and 10 at the 25. Ferguson dumps it off. He has Cribbs. Cribbs leaps over a tackler and is stopped at the 32. Short of a first down, it'll be 4th down, and Cater will come in and kick for the Bills. So the Atlanta Falcons did the job on the first series as a distraught Ferguson comes off the field.
Good play by the right side inside linebacker, Buddy Curry, number 50. Keep in mind that linebacking core, when we talk about him for the Atlanta Falcons, 3 rookies, Al Richardson, Jim Laughlin, Buddy Curry, and Joel Williams, the second-year man in there. He's the veteran of this young line, in fact, the youngest linebacking core in the NFL.
You're looking at Greg Cater from University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, a 10th round draft choice. And he made the ball club just below his season's average by 3 yards. Boots it, Roland Lawrence on a line drive kick, might return it, but he has trouble holding it on, and he's going backward. And Lawrence is trapped and thrown. He's still going back, and unfortunate development for the Atlanta Falcons. Ordinarily on a line drive kick, you think you'd get something going on a return. He couldn't hold on to it, and Lawrence found himself hemmed in back inside his own 20-yard line. So a tough break for the Atlanta Falcons, and this is the first time we've seen this crowd come alive in a while. We'll be back in just a moment.
Every year, millions of drivers suffer the agony of hillophobia. The fear of stopping on hills with a stick shift, with cars behind you, very close behind you. The only known cure? The ingenious hill holder clutch from Subaru. Now you don't have to go downhill until you want to. Subaru, inexpensive, and built to stay that way.
If you've ever wondered how something so big got off the ground, part of the answer is light, strong aluminum. Aluminum's high strength and light weight made modern aviation possible. Aluminum is important to most forms of transportation because taking the weight off planes and trucks, and now cars, saves fuel. Aluminum in transportation can be an energy saver today.
We can't wait for tomorrow. Alcoa can't wait.
Monday on Flo, Crooked Farley's running for office, and Flo's about to run him out of the Yellow Rose.
Farley's never met a man whose money he didn't like.
Monday on the new season of Flo.
Lehman Bennett, like Chuck Knox, cut from the same mold. They don't get too high, they don't get too low. Even keel, which is really the mark of a head coach. Lawrence gave ground and lost 13 yards on that return. 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line now for Bartkowski. Lynn Kane going wide, has Junior Miller and a few people blocking, but doesn't get anywhere. Maybe a couple of yards before Lucius Sanford, number 57, from Georgia Tech. So the fans who are watching this down in the southeast remember Lucius Sanford from his Georgia Tech days. And Lynn Kane picks up a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Falcons. Opening moments here, 14-10. 3rd quarter, Bills lead the Falcons.
Interesting, this backfield of the Atlanta Falcons. William Andrews, Lynn Kane, both kind of in the shadows of other running backs. Andrews in the shadow of Joe Cribbs when they were at Auburn, and Lynn Kane in the shadows of Charles White from USC. But they
2nd and 6, and he's dumped. Jim Haslett on the blitz with a great sack. And he came in fiercely from his right inside linebacker position. He has 2 interceptions, and he's been better on the run, but he stormed in on a blitz and dumped Bartkowski back to the 15.
Take a look coming in from the left side now. 6'3", 232, and Bartkowski took quite a shot.
Third and 16, a 10-yard loss. Haslett, one of the big stories in the Buffalo defensive resurgence this year.
You know, Dick, if you're Steve Bartkowski, it seems as if you've been looking at 3rd and a bunch all afternoon.
Lynn Kane tries to get a few, And he'll be stopped short of the 25. It'll be 4th down. Sherman White and Bill Simpson coming in to make the stop. As we mentioned, interesting story with number 45, Bill Simpson, who came out of retirement. He has had 3 interceptions in 3 games. He forced that play effectively. And now John James will come in and punt, and the Bills with Cribbs at the 35 see a possibility for good field position. That's what James has done today. He is a 9-year veteran from Florida, originally a free agent choice.
And just the play selection by the Falcons on 3rd and long shows you the respect they have for the Buffalo Bills secondary, which has picked off 3 passes so far this afternoon.
Stunning in the line for the Bills. James, good high kick to Cribbs. And a fair catch called for by the rookie from Auburn inside the 30. So John James has done his job superbly, but the Buffalo Bills will take over at the 29-yard line, 1st and 10. A 46-yard punt, no return, which is what you want from your punter. I'll be back in a moment with Jim Kelly.
This is what the experts said about Subaru front-wheel drive cars in 1980. A structural package bristling with near Mercedes solidity, car and driver. Many similarities to BMW, both inside and out. Popular science. Reliable, inexpensive to maintain, road and track. And in our opinion, Subaru for 81 is even better. Subaru, inexpensive, and built to stay that way.
Introducing the revolutionary twin-action shaving system engineered to outperform twin blades. The new Norelco Road-Attract Razor. Inside 3 floating heads, Road-Attract works like twin blades to grip hair. Raise it up, then razor it off, hundreds of times a second, for a shave that's twin blade close, without a nick or cut. The new twin-action Norelco Road-Attract Razor. Cord and rechargeable. Twin blade closeness, but no gotcha.
The lights have been on since the start of this game. It's been overcast and crisp and cold, but nothing like the gale force winds that they experienced here last week. And to the credit of Joe Ferguson and the Buffalo Bills, they managed to defy the winds and win the game. And of course, the 2 touchdown passes to Frank Lewis came with the wind at his back. Gant and Bramer, twin tight ends. 1st and 10 at the 30 for the Bills against the Falcons. 14-10, Buffalo in front. Play action pass. Ferguson freezes the linebackers. He's going deep for Butler. Overthrown it and is almost intercepted and should have been. And Rick Bias, number 38, making almost a Willie Mays World Series attempt at a catch there on the pass that was overthrown, intended for Jerry Butler.
Now, as you take a look, watch Ferguson, the straight drop, the good pass protection. Could have thrown the ball underneath to a man who was open, but goes up top to Butler instead. Ball is badly overthrown, as Dick said. Should have been intercepted by Rick Bias. A smart defensive play right there by Jerry Butler to knock him down and perhaps avert the interception as he was bobbling the ball on the way down.
Duke Ferguson, number 84, has replaced Butler perhaps for just his 1 down at wide receiver, former Seattle Seahawk. And the pass headed for Ferguson. He has it hit by Bias immediately. Short of a 1st down by a couple of yards. So Duke Ferguson, originally a Dallas Cowboy 3rd-round draft choice, was traded to Seattle, picked up as a free agent by the Bills.
Simple down and out. The inside fake to Cribbs holds the linebackers there. And look how open Ferguson is. Bias comes up, makes a good solid hit.
Here's a 1st down.
Now you take a look at that San Francisco-Detroit Lions score. The 49ers have just come back. Ray Wersching, a 36-yard field goal to knot that score 10-10, 8:08 left to go in the 3rd. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have come back with a field goal. They trail Green Bay 14-12.
Kenny Johnson, the rookie, back in there, and he's playing nose-to-nose with Duke Ferguson. 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. And a mix-up and a fumble. And I believe Ferguson got to the ball. There is Jerry Butler on the sideline as they tend to him. Duke Ferguson remains in the game. And interesting that Kenny Johnson would come in. Of course, Bias perhaps needed a breather after covering Butler on that previous play. Frank Lewis coming in the game. Wide receiver, and Bramer goes out. It'll be 2nd and 11 now for the Bills. 14-10 Buffalo. They led 14-0. Ferguson to Frank Lewis, 11 yards in the 1st quarter. Cribbs ran 13 yards for a touchdown to make it 14-0. And a field goal and a Bartkowski to Miller TD strike tighten it up. 2nd and 12 at the 42. And the pass overthrown, intended for Lewis. And a sea of red jerseys. And now Ferguson is really upset. Screaming at an official, but I wonder if it's an official or is it the sideline.
He's
I'm not
screaming
sure.
at the bench.
Yeah, he is upset at the bench. Now maybe Lewis came in with a play that Ferguson didn't agree with.
Whatever he said, the first part of what I read was that's the second time it's happened.
And you're not going to say what the second part was. Ron Jesse is in the game, number 81. They go into the shotgun. Roland Hooks, 25. The all-purpose third down back also in there. 3rd and 12 at the 42. 9:20 remaining third quarter. Out of the shotgun. The pass. Almost intercepted by Buddy Curry, and Curry started a run before he had the ball. And Nick is not a more frustrated football player on this field than Joe Ferguson right now, as Curry had it in his hands and couldn't hold it. It'll be 4th down.
Well, another break for the Buffalo Bills that time, because on that series of downs, Atlanta had 2 golden opportunities for the turnover. They get the ball back anyhow as the Buffalo Bills are about to kick it away.
Kenny Johnson, who has not returned a punt this year, and the kick by Greg Cater. He lets it bounce, and it goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line. So the crowd a bit testy right now, and so is Ferguson. He matches the mood of the crowd. Buffalo, once with a lead, has it 14-10, but Atlanta has the ball when we come back.
To Subaru, an economy car is only economical if it stands up year after year. Spending less at the pump is no bargain if you start spending more at the garage. In a study of Subaru owners, Road and Track magazine said, quote, one of the most trouble-free cars we've surveyed. That makes Subaru the economy car it pays to hold on to. Year after year after year. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
American business is being taken over by revolutionaries. Revolutionary Savin copiers. Savin's advancing in New York.
We have a tie. San Francisco and Detroit quickly another score.
San Diego's going up 24-7 against Cincinnati. Danny Fouts, a touchdown toss of 9 yards to John Jefferson. Phil Simms has passed 8 yards to Gary Shirk. Giants trail Tampa Bay 23-6. They missed the extra point on a bad snap.
Bartkowski going back, and he fires, and he finds an open receiver. Alfred Jenkins, a first down inside the 40-yard line, and Charles Romes makes the stop. So now the Falcons are doing to the Bills what the Bills did to the Falcons in the first half. Those under patterns, those comebackers that are working.
Take another look. Good drop by Bartkowski, right on the money. Simple down and out pattern by number 84, Alfred Jenkins rather.
16-yard pickup. 1st and 10 at the 37. Jackson 85 comes in the game as Jenkins goes out. Atlanta with the lead and moving now at the 37-yard line, out of the eye. Second back through, Lynn Kane stumbles his way, perhaps back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Lucius Sanford, number 57, and Hazlitt, 55. Two of the right side linebackers combined to make the stop.
Dick, offensively and to a degree defensively, the Buffalo Bills have not quite recovered from that blocked field goal.
That's true. Last couple of minutes of the first half and throughout most of this third quarter, they have been flat.
Bills have only had the ball twice. You look at the book on Steve Bartkowski.
2nd and 9. We wind down to a minute to go in the quarter. Barreling up ahead is Andrews. Might have gotten to the 30, depending on where forward progress was. Hazlitt once again makes the stop. Atlanta has beaten the tough teams as you look at that Tampa Bay Giants score. They beat the 49ers when they were 3-0. They defeated the Lions when they were 4-0. And, of course, the victories over New England earlier on this year on the road and L.A. last week. Their losses were the teams they should have beaten. The New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings. So they seem to rise to the occasion against the tough club.
Okay, if you're the Buffalo Bills defensively now, this could be one of the key third down plays of the football game. The line of scrimmage is the 33-yard line. You obviously don't want to give them the first down. You've got to keep them out of the end zone the way the momentum is swung around. Atlanta's up by 3, 17-14. You certainly want to make them try the long field goal and try to keep them off the board at all.
There you see the score. Atlanta, or St. Louis and Dallas tied 7-7. Cardinals on a high after the victory over the Colts last week.
St. Louis had, 12 quarterback sacks in that game?
Tied an NFL record and totally befuddled Burt Jones. This is a timeout, by the way, called by the Falcons. They called one early in the first quarter.
Well, just like it's a key third down play defensively for the Buffalo Bills, offensively it's as important for the Atlanta Falcons. Baltimore, you mentioned Burt Jones, has just come back against Kansas City. It was 17-14 Chiefs at the intermission. Curtis Dickey, a 2-yard run, so the Colts are out in front now 21-17 as they seesaw back and forth. That's a big game for the Kansas City Chiefs in that AFC Western division because Oakland is up, and then at 4-4 you've got Kansas City, you've got Seattle, and you've got the Chargers.
Tight races throughout the league. In the NFC, races for the division titles and wild card up in the air, and certainly the case in the AFC. 3rd and 4 at the 32-yard line. With 24 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Bartkowski is getting the rush up the middle, and it's dropped. Andrews had it. Isaiah Robertson was covering, but the coverage had nothing to do with it. Andrews just dropped the pass, and he would have had the first down. So it'll be 4th and 4. And James, the punter, will come in.
And it's not as if William Andrews is a stranger to pass catching. He had 1 for 7 yards in the first half, coming in 27 catches, 217 yards, averaging about 8 yards every time he catches a pass thrown by Steve Bartkowski.
Now Mazzetti will come in. They're going to try the field goal. It'll be from 51 yards. 51-yard attempt for Tim Mazzetti, who's 0 for 1 this year from that range.
And has a groin kick.
It looks long enough, and it's good. Tim Mazzetti has kicked a 51-yard field goal, and it might be spotted at 50, but either one, Mazzetti, who's being mobbed by his teammates, has increased the lead to 20-14 for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'll tell you one thing, that groin pull certainly hasn't affected Tim Mazzetti this afternoon, as it made it over the bar.
Not exactly a line drive, but you had to wait to see just how much it would clear the bar. The good follow-through. Watch the concentration there by Mazzetti, and he had a little bit of room to spare, even though it was a line shot. And watch the reaction of Tim Mazzetti as the Falcons now have gone up by 6 points, 20-14 against the Buffalo Bills, who enjoyed a commanding 14-0 lead. It looked as if it was going to be 17-0.
Or 21.
Or 21. Chuck Knox on 4th and less than a yard elected to try a field goal. The Falcons blocked it, and the rest is history. Touchdown toss to Junior Miller, the first touchdown that the Falcons have scored in the 3 meetings between these two teams, and it's been all Atlanta since then. The Bills have had the football only 2 times, and now they'll get it back for the 3rd time of the quarter.
Artie Owens, number 85, is back there with Terry Miller, number 40, who was a first-round draft choice in his 3rd year from Oklahoma State. And Mazzetti, who has kicked 2 field goals today, the 28-yarder to put the Falcons on the scoreboard in the waning moments of the first half before they scored again on a touchdown. And then, of course, the 50-yard field goal he just clicked on. So it's 20-14. Atlanta scored 10 points in the second and the third quarters. 15 seconds remaining in this third quarter as he boots it, headed over to Artie Owens' side. And Owens, 2 yards in the end zone, can't hold it, and will run it out. Owens to the 10, and maybe to the 10. That's all. Clock stops, 6 seconds to go. Kenny Johnson makes the tackle. So this game has turned full circle from what we saw for most of the first half, when the Bills were doing everything right and the Falcons couldn't get unleashed and couldn't get things started. It's turned around.
You certainly would expect Chuck Knox to have a talk with the 5-year man from West Virginia, Artie Owens, after he bobbled the ball twice in the Buffalo end zone about 3 yards deep and ran it out, and gives Buffalo very poor field position as time is winding down here in the third quarter. They start now from their own 10 instead of 1st and 10 from the 20.
6 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Cribbs running outside, and he's down, and that'll do it. That'll end things in the third quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter with the score. Atlanta 20, the Bills 14. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Monday on Flo, Crooked Farley's running for office, and Flo's about to run him out of the Yellow Rose.
Farley's never met a man whose money he didn't like.
Monday on the new season of Flo.
This is CBS.
Start of the fourth quarter. Start of the fourth quarter, Dick Stockton along with Jim Kelly in a score, Jim.
Rafael Septien, a 28-yard field goal. The Cowboys go out by 3 against the Cardinals. The Chiefs have come back against the Colts. Horace Belton, a 3-yard run, 24-21 Kansas City. And the Chargers have scored again. Dan Fouts' second touchdown toss to John Jefferson, 31-7.
Second and 10 at the 11-yard line for the Bills. Here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Frank Lewis in motion. Bills trailing 20-14. Play action to the other side. And Ferguson is going deep for Butler. And the pass is way overthrown. Contact there, but had nothing to do with the pass play. And Ferguson is now upset with something else.
Well, he appears to be upset with the pass route run by Jerry Butler, but he gave it the pump fake to turn Butler upfield. They ran the down and out successfully on the right side cornerback, which they ran so very well in the first half. But it looked to me as if Ferguson wanted Butler to turn it upfield. That's what he did, and the ball was just overthrown.
Kenny Johnson defending on the play. Johnson started, was burned time and time again early in the contest, and then Lehman Bennett went with Rick Bias at cornerback, and then Johnson came back in the game.
They're having a conclave over on the Buffalo sideline now, trying to come up with a play that will work. Interesting, though, if Butler stays underneath Dick, they have the first down. He was open at about the 25-yard line before he turned it upfield.
Shotgun formation at 3rd and 10. Ball at the 11. Ferguson back at the goal line. Fires it. Butler, fine catch at the 29-yard line. Good catch by Butler with Kenny Johnson defending. You can't fault Johnson on that play because you don't want him to get by you.
No, you certainly can't. That was a fine catch by Jerry Butler. Take a look out of the shotgun formation. Any doubt as to who he's throwing to? Ferguson looking at Butler the whole way. Throws this one right on the rope, a little bit high. Butler with a good concentration. Kenny Johnson, the rookie, is right there, however. That time he was good one-on-one, man-on-man cover.
Well, Lewis caught the touchdown early in the game. He's been throwing more to Lewis than to Butler this year. Butler, of course, the top rookie last year, and so it figured, as you know, they look at the films, that maybe they'll change things off, and Butler has been his main target today. First and 10 at the 29-yard line, an 18-yard pickup for the Bills. Trailing 20-14 to the Falcons. Again, play action pass. Ferguson with time. Up the middle of Curtis Brown, and it's overthrown. Pridemore and Roland Lawrence were the backs there. Incomplete.
He had Reuben Gant, number 88, his outstanding tight end. There's total yardage, and you see the big disparity on the scoreboard. Sometimes can be misleading. Gant was open about the 40-yard line. He turned it upfield, and Ferguson elected to go to the long man on the play. Incomplete, overthrown. Joe, who had the hot hand, what was he, 10 of 13 in the first half, had a long afternoon of it.
Second and 10. Ferguson quickly to the other side, has Butler. Butler is stopped, might be short of a first down. One thing about the Atlanta Falcons defense, unlike most teams that have substitution per down, as you look at the replay of that, they don't really change from their 3-4-4.
There you see the pattern that we've been talking about. They've been running that in different degrees in terms of length. 8 yards out, as you saw right there. Usually about 15 to 20 yards when it's most effective with Jerry Butler. Colts have just come back against the Chiefs. It's now 28-24 Baltimore. Curtis Dickey, a 51-yard run.
3rd and 1. Gant and Bramer. Twin tight ends. Roosevelt Leaks, number 48. In the game at fullback. And it's Cribbs carrying first down. He has a first down as he went underneath. He can slip and slide, not big, at 5'11", 190 pounds. Makes his own break, smart, quick player. The hole's not there, he'll create something. And Joe Cribbs, who's got to be the top AFC rookie, gives the Bills a first down at the 40-yard line. But as we mentioned again, the Atlanta Falcons stay with the same defense all the time.
Well, they stay with that 3-4, and it's very effective. You got Al Richardson in there, Buddy Curry, Earl Williams, the veteran. 3 rookie linebackers. Jimmy Laughlin from Ohio State.
First and 10 at the 41. Opening minutes of the final quarter here at Rich Stadium. Lewis wide right, Butler to the left. Ferguson looking for Lewis, who makes the catch at the 42, and another first down for the Buffalo Bills. And this is what teams have done against the Atlanta Falcons secondary. They have been vulnerable to those kind of patterns. That was Bob Glazebrook, the strong safety, who made the play. But as we pointed out at the top of the game, if the Falcons had any weakness in pass defense, and they're not rated up there at all in that category, it's those kind of patterns, the under patterns.
Well, again, this is the weakness, Dick, of the 3-4, because if the front three are not able to get to the passer, put any kind of pressure on, when you've got a passer of Joe Ferguson's ability, certainly of Steve Bartkowski's ability also, if those two have all kinds of time to throw, they're going to find somebody open in the seam.
18-yard pickup. Now they're in the I formation, and the second back is Cribbs, hit immediately by Jim Laughlin, the linebacker from Ohio State, who's a smart, instinctive player, was used sparingly at college, Laughlin was, and was a fullback, a tight end, and a linebacker. He's one of those players with smarts, well-schooled out of Ohio State, and he was Johnny on the spot there to just smother Cribbs. So at second, he lost a half a yard on the play. Let's call it 2nd and 11.
They dress about 108 Buckeyes down there.
So some of them have to be used sparingly, right, Jim? 42-yard line. To his left, Butler, first down to the 21, 22-yard line. Goes left side, goes right side. Butler one play, Lewis another. And he's got him going from side to side as we look at Butler again in the moves against Kenny Johnson.
And you can see how hard the rookies had it all afternoon. The bread and butter play, really, of the Buffalo Bills, no problem.
Actually, he made a good play there, Johnson did, because he came back on the turn-in and then prevented Butler from getting more yards. It was a good tackle on Johnson's part, a 20-yard gain.
How tough are the St. Louis Cardinals at home? They have just tied up the Dallas Cowboys 10-10, a 42-yard field goal by Neil O'Donohue, who ironically had the only 3 points the last time these two teams hooked up. A 3-point field goal 30 yards out to give Buffalo a 3-0 win against Atlanta.
Rick Bias has replaced Johnson at cornerback. It is 1st and 10 at the 22. Play action again. Ferguson way back to his 30-yard line looking for an opening, and the pass is broken up, intended for Lewis. Roland Lawrence did a tremendous job on Frank Lewis and just muscled the ball away from him. Incomplete.
Roland Lawrence, an 8-year man from Tabor, 5'10", 179. But I'll tell you what, Frank Lewis, number 82, the intended receiver, did a pretty good job too, because that ball was out there and up for grabs. Take another look and you'll see how close it came to being an Atlanta interception. Ferguson had all kinds of time. Again, the freeze to Joe Cribbs holds the linebackers in. Now, right now, that's when your quarterback waits for the receiver to help and come back toward you. The ball batted up there, and watch there, Lewis bats it away. Otherwise, Roland Lawrence had a chance for the INT.
2nd and 10 at the 22. Butler has been his main target. Has caught 8 passes for 103 yards. See what he does here. Ferguson back again. Fires for Butler. Intercepted. Pass is intercepted. And it looks like Tom Pridemore, the free safety from West Virginia, picked that pass off, and a key one, because Buffalo, threatening, had at least a field goal opportunity. But now things have reversed themselves. Watch Pridemore on the pass intended for Butler.
This is the 2nd interception on the season for Richard Pridemore. It's thrown right on the money by Ferguson, but he never saw him. A great job by Tom Pridemore, taking the ball right away. Just steps out of bounds about the half-yard line. So the Buffalo Bills, driving for what looked like might have been the go-ahead touchdown, still find themselves on the short end by 6. Atlanta leads 20-14.
Stuttgart, West Germany. A very special Mercedes-Benz is coming home to the Mercedes test track. This 1968 diesel from Oregon has been driven over 1 million miles. And after 12 years of careful maintenance, a couple of engine overhauls, and a little luck, this million-mile Mercedes-Benz diesel can still hold its own with these new Mercedes-Benz diesels. Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world.
Love TV. The soaps.
The mysteries. And you'll love recording TV on the Zenith video recorder.
I love TV. The sports.
The comedy. The Zenith video recorder. 14-day advanced programming, speed search, stop action, plus the picture quality you'd expect from Zenith. You'll love it.
I love TV.
The officials ruled Pridemore stepped out of bounds at the 2, and that's where the Falcons have it. 1st and 10 at the 2-yard line. Bills were trying to make something happen on defense right now. 20-14. And Bartkowski tries to jam it out of there. Maybe gets a yard, that's all. 2nd down.
That's his second carry of the ball game. He went one time for a quarterback sneak and picked up an Atlanta first down. Not wishing to risk the turnover down there, but your bread and butter ball carriers, Kane and Andrews, have not exactly had fumbleitis so far.
No, and they're power backs. They can drive it out there, and of course, if they don't get a first down, Buffalo is drooling with good field position. So it's second down and a long 8. Up the middle and driving back, William Andrews is the middle of that line, and there's the Bermuda Triangle, Haslett and Nelson, and I'm sure Smirlis had to have some role as that nose tackle in the middle. So now it's third down, and Bartkowski has to make a decision here.
I really don't think with 3 interceptions on the afternoon that they're going to risk throwing the ball right here. And of course, if they do get him in a punting situation, you got to figure the Bills will be coming. In third down conversions, the Falcons are 4 out of 10 in this football game. And this is the key play for both the Atlanta offense and the Buffalo Bills defense.
A little over 10 minutes remaining in the ball game. Dick Stockton with Jim Kelly here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park. 3rd and 7 at the 5. And it's Lynn Kane. Can't get out. Stopped at the 5-yard line, maybe the 6. And now the Buffalo Bills can see superb field position. Charles Rose coming up from the corner, and Fred Smirlis, the nose tackle, make the stop, and John James will have to punt from the back line of this end zone.
A lot of pressure on the 9-year veteran from Florida right now, not only to hang on to that football, but to get the kick away. The Bills, with this kind of field position, Dick, you must assume will be coming and try to block that kick.
Joe Cribbs is deep as you look at James having a good afternoon, averaging over 40 yards a kick. Cribbs is at the 45-yard line of Atlanta. Kick. Fair catch. Called for by Cribbs. He's tripped up. Penalty marker down. And Ray Strong of the Falcons is telling the official that he did not trip him up.
And he's absolutely right. He tripped over his own man.
Well, let's see what comes out of this conference. And now Atlanta's signaling that they have possession. There's a penalty marker down. This is one explanation we will listen to closely. First Atlanta cheered that they had it, then the Buffalo Bills did. Chuck Heberling will be the one who's going to have to figure this one out. There's a huddle for you.
There's another conclave. Lehman Bennett has ripped the headset off. He is out at about the 30-yard line right now. Now the officials will have that meeting without the players surrounding them.
Tough to shake them, though.
Well, they're all bigger. From up here, it looked as if Joe Cribbs signaled for the fair catch. Then he had to run up about 6 to 7 yards to get to the ball to make the catch. He signaled for the fair catch first, then he ran up 6-7 yards. Here's Chuck Heberling, the referee.
There is no foul on the play. The receiver's man tripped his own teammate. It'll be the white ball, first down.
That's just as you called it, Jim. The penalty marker should not have been thrown. Cribbs tripped over his own man. Ray Strong had nothing to do with the play. And if they've been listening to us, they wouldn't need all this delay. Buffalo ball, 1st and 10.
You got some angry Falcons out there right now, about 24 of them. They've got the offensive unit out there, the defensive unit. And the Buffalo Bills are waiting to take over 1st and 10. But again, Joe Cribbs signaled for the fair catch, had to run up about 6 or 7 yards, tripped over his own man. There wasn't a Falcon man in the vicinity, not of Joe Cribbs. Of course, the man who's going to feel most of this heat will be Joe Ferguson, because he'll have the ball and the Atlanta defense will be coming after him.
Another conference, and Phil Villapiano is replaced by Robertson, who wants to listen in his own right. Reggie McKenzie now in the huddle. You got the white shirts on one side and the red shirts on the other, and there are people dragging them away from the officials' meeting. And I wonder if Heberling is going to have some more information for us. We hope so. Confusion on the field.
If he reverses his decision, he'll need an escort out.
All right. Looks like the Falcons will get the break here. Let's hear.
He's not going to put the microphone on until he's sure there are no angry Buffalo Bills around, which could be a while.
There is no foul on the play. The two white men tripped each other. The ball was touched by the white and recovered by the red. It's the red ball.
You can hear Reggie McKenzie say, "Oh, no," into the microphone of Chuck Heberling. So it is a fumble. There is no foul, and the ball hit off of a Buffalo Bill player, recovered by the Falcons, who maintained possession. Took a long time to figure out, but that is what they decide. And the crowd here, boos cascading down on the field. The Falcons have it 1st and 10 on their own 38, leading 20-14 with 9:02 remaining in the fourth quarter. Bartkowski says he can't hear.
And Heberling says, "Look, Steve, you've got to try to get a playoff because this could go on from now until Christmas." Ray Wersching for San Francisco, a 39-yard field goal. The 49ers have just gone out in front of the Detroit Lions 13-10, 7:54 of quarter number 4.
Well, now the crowd is not letting up. And Bartkowski, they're not going to allow Bartkowski to get this play underway. He's signaling a cutoff sign. Not sure what he means, frankly. Falcons are just standing there at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they know they don't have to get a playoff until they can hear the signals, and if it goes on too long, the home team can be penalized for delay of game.
Chuck Knox has signaled from the sideline to the fans, and now the players on the bench are turned around and are signaling, "Please quiet down." Buffalo players urging the crowd to quiet down. There you see they know the game can't go on if they continue. And usually after one play, everything is back to normal again anyway.
Well, actually, they're fortunate that this is not a dome stadium in terms of decibel.
1st and 10 at the 38. Bartkowski can't hear a thing.
The natives are restless. Of course, the fortune of this game just turned dramatically because instead of 1st and 10 for the Buffalo Bills in relatively good field position in Atlanta territory, the Falcons got the ball back on a break and a very controversial call after they had indicated the Buffalo Bills had it 1st and 10.
Well, the fumble perhaps wasn't the controversial part of it. It was that
was there a penalty or was there not? They threw a flag and indicated there might have been interference on the kick. But as we pointed out, Joe Cribbs tripped over his own man, and in so tripping, the referees have ruled that Joe Cribbs, or one of the Buffalo Bills, touched the ball.
So it's been a while since we've had a play run off. 9:02 remain in the fourth quarter. The Falcons have a lead. They were trailing 14-0 at one point. They struck with less than a minute to go in the first half. Rossetti field goal, an interception, and Bartkowski threw to Miller for a score, and a touchdown on the field goal here in the third quarter. Now the fourth period underway, and it's still 20-14. And the give. Andrews to the 39-yard line. So it's 2nd down. Picks up 4 or 5 on the play. Fred Smerlas and Charles Romes make the stop on William Andrews, who's had a tremendous second half.
Exactly right, and the play should not have picked up 4 or 5, 6 yards. Sherman White, 83, the 9-year veteran, in the backfield, had a shot at him, and he just eluded him and picked up all of that on his own. Ricky Bell, a 1-yard touchdown run. Tampa Bay blowing out the Giants now 30-6. That's in the fourth quarter.
2nd and 6 at the 43. Wallace Francis split to the left. Jenkins wide right. Play action for Bartkowski. Can't find a receiver. Off the hands of Andrews. Incomplete. Shane Nelson was defending on the play, but Andrews was there and should have made the catch. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Bartkowski wanted Lynn Kane that time, looping out of the backfield. Good one-on-one coverage by the linebackers for the Buffalo Bills. Jim Haslett, whose main responsibility on that play was picking up Kane looping out. So now perhaps the key 3rd down play, if you will, of the ball game, certainly for the Buffalo Bills defense, because after the referee reversed his decision and it went against the Buffalo Bills, and that's the way certainly that they would view it, a break for the Falcons, a key 3rd down situation for Steve Bartkowski.
Junior Miller, the tight end, now goes as a wide receiver to the left. Rufus Bess is in as a nickel back. Kadish in, 4 down lineman. 3rd down pass is caught by Wallace Francis and out of bounds. And a 1st down at the 41-yard line. Charles Romes made the stop, and Wallace Francis, who's 2nd on the team in receiving coming into this game, used to play with the Buffalo Bills behind Ahmad Rashad and J.D. Hill, comes back to haunt his former club.
Simple down and out, the play the Bills have run so successfully all afternoon right there. And Wallace Francis, good job, followed the ball in with the seams the whole way. Big 1st down for the Falcons. Credit Bartkowski, stayed in the pocket in the face of a big Buffalo Bill rush.
16-yard gain to Wallace Francis, who set all kinds of club records last year with 74 catches at the 41, 1st and 10. 8 minutes, 10 seconds remaining, 4th quarter. Here's William Andrews. And runs solidly into Shane Nelson and Isaiah Robertson. There you look at 1st down. Buffalo had a big edge early, and now Atlanta has narrowed that gap.
Well, it was 12-8 in favor of 1st downs, Bills to Falcons after the 1st half. You take a look at the clock now, starting to work in the favor of the Atlanta Falcons, 7:45 and counting. The Buffalo Bills defense has to assert themselves for some kind of a turnover here, Dick. They certainly can't give up another 15 yards to allow Mazzetti to get into field goal range, because a field goal now, it's a 6-point deficit, would make it 9.
That's the voice of Jim Kelly working our game here today. Hear him on CBS Radio. Lynn Kane breaks a tackle to the 39-yard line. It'll be 3rd and long yardage as Ben Williams makes the tackle. 5th year from Ole Miss, a 3rd-round draft choice back in 1976.
Of course, they pick up another 5 or 6 yards here. They approach 1st down yardage, but also they get a little bit more into range for Tim Mazzetti, who already has a boomer of 50 yards.
Plus a 28-yard field goal, so he's feeling awfully good. It'll be 3rd and 7. Wallace Francis, Alfred Jackson, Alfred Jenkins are the 3 wide receivers. 6 defensive backs and 4 down linemen for the Bills, as they have substitutions down by down, and we may have a penalty here, and we do. Delay of the game against the Atlanta Falcons, so instead of 3rd and 7, it'll be 3rd and 12, and that's a totally different story.
It's also a different story as far as Tim Mazzetti is concerned in the field goal department.
We don't really have to listen. We know it's delay of the game, but let's hear how Chuck says it.
Delay of the game, offense, number 10, 3rd down.
Terry Bradshaw is back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A 3-yard touchdown pass to Rocky Blyer. Pittsburgh, who trailed at the half 14-9, has now jumped out on top by a score of 22-14.
And they've shut out Green Bay in that 2nd half. 3rd and 12 at the 43. They want at least to get into Mazzetti territory. Bartkowski finds Wallace Francis. Wallace Francis has a 1st down. I think he just made it by less than a yard. Lucius Sanford was trying to bring him back, but I think the effort by Francis was good enough for a 1st down, and I'm sure we'll have a measurement. And he was wide open on that pass and run, Jim.
No question about it. Look at the time that Bartkowski has right here. Even though the Bills are sending 4, they went to 4 down linemen. Right on the money, Wallace Francis wide open once again. So Francis now back-to-back receptions for key 1st downs for the Atlanta Falcons.
Looks like he has the 1st down, but let's see where they do it. It is an Atlanta 1st down. Big play on 3rd and 12. They connect on a 12-yard play with Francis all alone. So the Falcons maintain possession. 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 31-yard line, leading 20-14, and using the clock oh so well with 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter.
Is that not a face mask?
Well, that's a face mask he's wearing, and I see a hand on that from another jersey, so maybe that's the case. First and 10, 31. The pitch goes out to Lynn Kane. Can't cut inside, and Kane is thrown for a loss of about a yard. Jim Haslett, number 55, and Romes converged on that play.
57, you see there, Lucius Sanford is the man whose jersey Dick was alluding to, who may or may not have had the face mask of Wallace Francis in his grasp.
Second and 11. The Bills next week will go on the road. They face the New York Jets. And the week after that, they face the Cincinnati Bengals, while the Atlanta Falcons will be in St. Louis next week before coming back with 3 home games the rest of November. Second and 11 at the 32. Bartkowski back to throw. And his pass out to the flat to Jackson. Alfred Jackson complete. Sanford defending on the play. Significant about the Buffalo Bills, Jim, as we'll take a look at Jackson again. They have 2 more home games after this game against tough opponents, Pittsburgh and Los Angeles.
So it's very important to make hay while you can. They were hoping for a win against the Atlanta Falcons here because they're going to close out the season on the road. Look how open number 85 Alfred Jackson is, the 3-year veteran from Texas. Gets all of it there and still shy of first down yardage. Brings up again another key third down play for the Buffalo Bills defense. They're certainly within Mazzetti's field goal range, but now they're approaching that goal line.
And that's a tough pattern to stop. 3rd and 5 at the 26. Bartkowski passes off the fingertips of Lynn Kane, incomplete. Kadish put a pretty good rush in. Lucius Sanford covering downfield. It'll be 4th down, and as you point out, Tim Mazzetti, who's hit on a 50-yarder, will be coming in now to attempt a field goal, we presume. He is 2 for 2 this afternoon.
Bartkowski never saw that incompleted pass, as Dick called it. Mike Kadish from Notre Dame, the 8-year veteran, got in there and almost got to Bartkowski before he was able to release the football. Mazzetti warming up. As we noted, he came in here listed as a question mark because of his groin injury, but certainly no problem so far.
Well, at a 44-yard attempt with James Holding. Mazzetti has hit on 2 field goals, and this one he drills through, and Mazzetti is 3 for 3, and what an afternoon he's having. And the Atlanta Falcons now move in front 23-14, have opened up a 9-point lead, so Buffalo needs 2 scores to take the lead, and will return to Rich Stadium in a moment.
Need your help. Is it me or my 1981 Toyota Corolla? Watch. See what I mean? I know Corolla looks like a million, got plenty of style, not to mention a peppy 1.8-liter engine. But I ask you, is it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Give me a ride to the library?
Tell me, was it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Oh, what a feeling! Your Corolla! Toyota!
Homeward bound, coast of New England.
Step 6'2" feet.
The Navy. See a recruiter or call toll free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
See the cheerleaders go from the sidelines to the front lines in the battle of the NFL cheerleaders. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Okay, good. Tim Mazzetti will kick off. Terry Miller and Artie Owens are deep for the Buffalo Bills. It's 5 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Atlanta has controlled the ball and the clock for a long time with the break on the fumble. Owens at the 4-yard line on a reverse to Miller. Terry Miller looking for room, but the Atlanta Falcons too smart for this one. Back to the 10-yard line. Well, Tim Mazzetti has had a brilliant afternoon with 3 field goals. The reaction to the 44-yard one he just clicked on.
No sign of a groin injury there. The good follow through, the good concentration again to go along with his 50-yard effort. And there is Tim, a former bartender in Philadelphia. And that just put him up by 9, 23-14. You talk about staying at home and what a good job the Atlanta defense has been doing on the trick plays at Buffalo right there on the reverse on the kickoff. 3 of them stayed there, and so Buffalo starts 1st and 10 from the shadow of their own goalpost.
1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Curtis Brown 47 and Joe Cribbs 20 of the setbacks. But Ferguson has to go up on top, and his pass to Lewis is almost intercepted. It is. The Falcons have it. Jim Laughlin on a deflection has intercepted for the Atlanta Falcons at the 17-yard line. And now the Falcons have a chance to break it open, and we have a fight. Ferguson and Reggie McKenzie have one Falcon down there. And it's very risky for a quarterback to get involved. Number 65 is Don Smith, the second-year defensive lineman from Miami. He and Reggie McKenzie were going at it, and Ferguson came over in a 2-and-1. But you can see the Buffalo Bills season going down the drain if Ferguson were to hurt his hand on a punch. But let's see the interception ultimately made by Jim Laughlin, the linebacker.
All right, Ferguson rolls out to the right, throws the ball well. It's deflected. He didn't see the other linebacker come in right there and deflect it. Bounces off the helmet into the waiting arms of number 51, Jimmy Laughlin. And then the trouble started downfield. It was Don Smith, 6'5", 248, who had a couple of words to say from behind to Ferguson. Don Smith actually came up, slapped Ferguson on the back of the helmet from behind and razzed him about the interception. Ferguson turned around and said something to him. Reggie McKenzie came over and grabbed Don Smith, and that's when the flag started to fly. Now we have another conflict.
I guess it's been a frustrating afternoon for Joe Ferguson because he has really had his problems with upstairs, with officials, perhaps with opposing players. Al Richardson was the linebacker who made the deflection on the pass intended for Frank Lewis before Jim Laughlin. And we're going to take another look. And what we pointed out at the beginning of the game, the linebackers playing a key role in the second half for the Falcons.
All right, the ball intended for Lewis right here. A little bit off the mark, deflected, hits the helmet, okay, and then Jimmy Laughlin comes up with a big interception.
Here comes Heberly.
Who will not win the Man of the Year award in Buffalo.
They've had more huddles today than the Buffalo offense.
We have a double foul after a change of possession. The ball belongs to the intercepting team. Foul against the passing team. The original offense was unnecessary roughness on number 47. The foul in the corner was unnecessary roughness against 67 on the white and 85 in the red. It's a red ball.
Whatever it was, and it was roughness, and we talked about Reggie McKenzie in there and Ferguson's number and Curtis Brown's number also. But whatever it was, did not affect the interception. But there were roughness calls on both sides, and it will not affect where the ball is or the possession. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Falcons beyond the 15-yard line. 4:52 remaining in the game. Wallace Francis wide to the right, Alfred Jenkins to the left, and a chance for the Falcons to wrap it up. Lynn Kane with Andrews blocking. Still on his feet. Then they try to strip him of the ball unsuccessfully. And inside the 10, a good pickup by Lynn Kane. Fred Smerlis, the nose tackle, made the play, and they're really trying for the ball here.
Watch the blocking over on the right side right here for the Atlanta Falcons, and then watch the acceleration, the quick hit there of Lynn Kane, who got the last 5, 6, maybe 7 yards all on his own, busting over the right side. Warren Bryant, 66. Dick's called his number for you, along with R.C. Thielman, number 68, in there as you look at the score with 4:19 left to go. And the Lions have just come back against the 49ers, 17-13 Detroit.
We'll get that detail in a moment. 2nd and 1 at the 6-yard line. 6 defensive linemen for the Bills at 2nd and 1. Lynn Kane with Andrews blocking. Kane will have the first down inside the 5.
And what a block William Andrews threw right there on the cornerback for Buffalo Bills, number 29, Mario Clark, the 5-year man from Oregon. Take a look here. Of course, Andrews, the blocking back at Auburn, runner extraordinaire since joining the Falcons. There he is, right there, just blasts him away. Kane follows the blocking niftily and dives in close to the 3-yard marker. That's Gary Danielson with the 8-yard touchdown run, 17-14. It's a 17-13. Lions on top over the 49ers.
So it's 1st and goal at the 3. Shane Nelson ultimately made the tackle. Falcons, with 3 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the game, can ice this with a touchdown. Andrews looking for room, barrels his way to about the 1. It'll be 2nd and goal. An incredible turn of events at Rich Stadium. The game started out, and for a while, actually with a couple of minutes remaining in the half, looked like a Buffalo rout. They were leading 14-0 and were driving for more. And a very key play that we have to go back to, Jim, as you alluded to earlier, the 4th down, less than a yard. They decided to go for the field goal instead of the touchdown.
No question about it. The field goal is blocked. Atlanta gets the ball back, goes right down the field, gets a field goal of their own, puts 3 points on. Then a touchdown pass from Bartkowski to Junior Miller just before the half, and Atlanta was right back into it.
2nd and goal at the 1. And the give to Kane. He's in for the touchdown. Lynn Kane, his 2nd score. And the Falcons, a tremendous team on the road this year and against tough opposition. It's amazing. Again, New England, L.A., Detroit when they were unbeaten, San Francisco when they were unbeaten, Buffalo on the road. Tremendous effort for the Falcons, and they have to be a strong divisional threat as Lynn Kane scores his 2nd touchdown of the game.
Also against the New Orleans Saints, it was 14-13 against New Orleans in the Superdome. Not an easy place to play. And Atlanta comes back 28 unanswered points and blows out New Orleans. They've done almost the same thing to Buffalo here this afternoon because Buffalo has not scored in the 2nd half.
Holding is James. Mazzetti trying the point after. He is certainly one of the heroes for the Atlanta Falcons today with 3 field goals and perfect conversions for Tim Mazzetti for the Atlanta Falcons, who realize that they still have 4 more home games and leading comfortably here 30-14. We'll be back.
Newspapers all across America are endorsing Ronald Reagan for president. One reason is the sad reality of Mr. Carter's record. A more important reason is the promise of Ronald Reagan's leadership. As the Columbus Dispatch said, Ronald Reagan is by far the best choice to do the job that needs to be done today. His presidency would return the luster to the American dream. The time is now for Reagan.
I looked at Datsun 280ZX and Porsche 924 because I wanted a refined sports car. Then I looked at and drove this new Mazda RX-7, and that's all it took.
Just one look. That's all it took. Yeah, just one look. That's all it took.
The Mazda RX-7 keeps getting better. Even the mileage is 24% better than last year. And the more I looked, the more I liked the looks of its price.
The more you look, the more you like.
Live, undefeated champion Hilmer Kenty blasts away with Villamar Fernandez for the WBA Lightweight Championship. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
So the Buffalo Bills moving into a tie with the Patriots last week as you look at Terry Miller, number 40, and Artie Owens, 85. Mazzetti kicking off, coming back and losing this next week. The kick is short. And it's run back by a linebacker to the 38-yard line, Chris Keating, number 52. And so 30-14 the score with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to go. The Bills can't sustain, as you look at the drive, this next week against the Atlanta Falcons. And that might hurt Buffalo as we consider the schedule that they've got.
Well, you must be aware of the fact the L.A. Rams are certainly taking prime interest in this game because they came in tied with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC West, and the Rams will be hosting the still winless New Orleans Saints in just a couple of minutes. Larry Heater, a 1-yard run for the Giants. They still trail Tampa Bay 30-13, and Baltimore has just gotten a 21-yard field goal from Mickamar. It is 31-24. Baltimore now against the Kansas City Chiefs.
1st and 10 at the 37. Ferguson's last 2 passes have been intercepted. This one is complete to Frank Lewis out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
Well, again, the bread and butter player that Buffalo has been running most of the afternoon quite successfully against the Falcons, but you've really got to admire the job the Atlanta Falcons have done here this afternoon. Lehman Bennett saying before the game, as you look at it one more time, that he is very concerned about his team following an emotional win. They upset Los Angeles 13-10 to pull into that tie last week. And off of a big win, Atlanta in the past, their history has not been that well. They have not played that well. And indeed, they fell behind here quickly 14-0. But since then, it's been all Falcons.
That's been the story. 1st and 10 at the 39. Ferguson back to throw. They'll give him all the short stuff in the world. Joe Cribbs on the receiving end. You can see him perform his magic, which he hasn't done that much this afternoon, as he gets inside the 30-yard line. Good for a first down. As we wind down, clock running close to the 2-minute warning. The Atlanta Falcons, who play Buffalo or St. Louis on the road next week and come home against New Orleans, Chicago, at Washington. They get this play off just before the 2-minute mark, and the pass out of bounds intended for Frank Lewis and Rollin Lawrence covering on the play. But the Falcons look to the last game of the year on the road in Los Angeles. Don't forget the Rams are getting underway against the Saints and the Patriots against the Jets in games that affect these teams here. We'll be back.
STP, a big name in racing for nearly 20 years. STP oil treatment on the track in some of the world's most expensive engines. Around the track, around the world, every day, tens of thousands of people get STP oil treatment. Get it for your car. Satisfaction guaranteed. Around the track, around the world, STP oil treatment is #1.
Here's another Radio Shack telephone sensation, and lucky you, it's on sale for only $39.88. Super small size, and the push-button dial has a memory button that automatically redials busy numbers. Of course, it has an extra long 16-foot cord, and watch this. Its hang-up is a put-down. You save even more when you own your own phone, and it's built and sold only by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
That's now a final score. The Bucs beat the Giants, who fall to 1-8. And Green Bay has just scored on Pittsburgh. 39 seconds to go. Steelers lead at 22-20 against the Pack.
2nd and 10 at the 29. Ferguson back. His pass intended for Roland Hooks, incomplete. Falcons are giving all the yardage. Glazebrook defending on the play. 1:51 remaining on pass intended for Hooks.
We mentioned at the top of the telecast that this is the 3rd meeting between these two teams, and it looks like Atlanta will have their first win ever against the Buffalo Bills. The first time they met, it was 17-6 in favor of Buffalo. That was back on December the 2nd of '73. And the second time, 3-0. Neil O'Donoghue, a 30-yard field goal. So Atlanta will have their first win ever against the Buffalo Bills.
3rd and 10 at the 29 now for Joe Ferguson. And his pass in the air, caught, penalty marker down. Penalty markers down at the 10. Jerry Butler. I believe that's his 9th reception of the game. Having his best afternoon of the
We'll take another look at it on slow motion.
Kenny Johnson.
Up over his back before the catch. Here comes the flag right there. And there was another one thrown from the back judge.
1st and goal at the 9. And as you said, we have the final score, with the Steelers eking one out over the Packers. Duke Ferguson, 84, is in. Butler now moving wide. And the pass is drilled to Butler. Can't hold on. Rollin Lawrence. That pass should go as an incompletion all the way.
Pass was drilled to Butler, and then Butler was drilled. That's number 65 for Atlanta, Don Smith. It was he and Ferguson who mixed it up.
Joe Devlin in there, too.
And there's Reggie McKenzie.
This is frustration on the part of the Buffalo Bills, is all it is. This is a team that perhaps thought they could get by this week with the tough schedule ahead.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 65 in the red, number 70 in the white.
Second time Don Smith has been involved in a flurry out there, offsetting penalties. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 9-yard line. Clock shows 1:41 remaining. Falcons are in a great position in their race against the Rams because they are undefeated in their division. And the Rams, of course, have that one loss. CBS News, a special report. Tonight, CBS News special report anchored by Dan Rather. The special report will focus on today's developments in which Iran agreed to the release of the hostages if Khomeini's 4 conditions are met. 2nd and goal. Ferguson's pass, sideline. Incomplete, he was out of bounds. Hooks, the intended receiver again, and Glazebrook watching him there.
Well, Chuck Knox said coming in that this Atlanta Falcon team was the most aggressive team that his young Buffalo Bills have ventured up against so far in 1980, and they fell behind quickly. Atlanta did, 14-0. They didn't lose their poise, and I think that's quite a credit to Lehman Bennett and the coaching staff in Atlanta. It was 14-0. We go right back to it could have been 17-0 or 21 had Knox not elected to go for what ended up to be a blocked field goal that he got in the first down.
Bennett said he didn't know how his team was going to play today, and he was being truthful about that. They could rise to the occasion, they could have problems. He was honest there, and they fell behind. Here's a good rush on Ferguson, who dives forward inside the 10. It'll be 4th down.
You know who was putting the heat on Ferguson, don't you? Number 65, Don Smith.
And he started the year as the nose tackle on this Falcon team.
Smith, a second-year man from Miami, 6'5" and 248 as you take a look at it. Ferguson scrambles out, but it's going to be too little too late. 1:25 to go, and the Falcons up by 16.
For 1981, the Toyota Celica Supra gets recharged. Charged with more performance, a new 2.8 fuel-injected engine, an optional performance package, sport suspension, spoilers front and rear. The new 2.8-liter Toyota Celica Supra, recharged for 81.
A Celica never performed like this before. Supra!
You take 1,000 hearts up here with you, make them skip a beat, then take them back down to Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer.
When it's time to relax,
Miller High Life.
one beer stands clear. If you've got time, we've got the beer.
Well, the Bills used one of their 3 remaining timeouts to talk things over. It's 4th down and 7, 30-14. They need 3 scores to win this game with 1:25 to go. Frustrating second half and a little of the end of the first half for the Buffalo Bills this afternoon. 4th down, Ferguson. Pass almost intercepted by Pridemore. Intended for Reuben Gant. So the Atlanta Falcons will take over on downs. And they have played an outstanding defensive game in the second half. You see Pridemore almost with the interception, Jim.
Here it is again, Ferguson. Not much of a rush. They're in the 3-4, the nickel defense. Almost picked off there by number 51 for Atlanta, Jimmy Laughlin, who's had quite an afternoon. And then another chance for Pridemore. He's played a fine game for the Falcons here. Cincinnati's Jack Thompson, a touchdown pass to Deacon Turner of 15 yards. But the Chargers still have a commanding 17-point lead, 31-14 against the Bengals. 7:11 to go in quarter number 4 there. And the Lions have beaten the 49ers by 4. Gary Danielson's 8-yard touchdown run with 3:42 to go in the game made it a 17-13 score, and that's the way that one wound up. Now the Cardinals have just come back against the Cowboys to lead at 17-10, 5:20 in the 3rd quarter.
All right, there's a big game right there. Lynn Kane carrying, gets a couple off tackle. What's happened in that ball game is the Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys, seems that St. Louis always gives them trouble. Executive producer of the NFL on CBS is Chuck Milton. The producer of our game this afternoon, Marvin Muse. And the game has been directed by John McDonough Jr. And we'd like to thank our technical staff for bringing you the pictures of this game that was touted going in, and a dramatic turn of events here in Buffalo. Over 60,000 on hand here at Rich Stadium, but most of the fans, if not 7/8, have departed here with long faces as the Buffalo Bills trailing the Atlanta Falcons 30-14 with 1:14 remaining.
Big game here for both teams because obviously they each came in tied in their respective divisions. The Rams and the Falcons were deadlocked in the NFC West, and the Bills and the Patriots were all knotted up in the AFC East. Lehman Bennett said before the game, gee, who would have imagined when you start the season way back there that first weekend in September that by the time you kick it off here in November in Buffalo that the Falcons and the Bills would be tied for the lead in their respective division. One
of the many surprises of this season. There's Lehman Bennett with the headset off. Just a matter of time now with 1:14 to go. The Bills with one timeout remaining. They just called another one there. Joe Ferguson may not get back in this game. He completed 20 of 37 passes today for 270 yards, 1 touchdown with 3 big interceptions. Bartkowski is 13 for 24 for 193 yards. He's also thrown away 3, but not in the second half as Kane goes up the middle, just using up the time. Smirlis makes this tackle. Clock stops with 1:08 remaining, and the Bills have called their last timeout, and there are the numbers on that Green Bay-Pittsburgh game as the Steelers trying to get themselves back up again.
Boy, they had lost 3 in a row. That hadn't happened since 1976, and they had all they could handle and more from the Packers at Three Rivers Stadium. Chuck Knox, I'm sure, had some inspirational words there. That score certainly of interest to the Houston Oilers, who are on the road. They're in Denver taking on the Broncos this afternoon. And, of course, the Cleveland Browns must be watching that score with interest because Cleveland will play host to the Chicago Bears tomorrow night, and that game will be on CBS Radio. You can hear Dick Stockton with the pregame show, 10 minutes to 9 Eastern Time.
And Jack Buck and Hank Stram and Brent Musburger, all part of the broadcast team. Los Angeles with an early score.
Frank Corral, a 27-yard field goal. The Rams jump out in front over the winless New Orleans Saints 3-0.
And there you see Detroit beating San Francisco 17-13. So the Lions are now 6-3 on the year. And Tampa Bay, by virtue of their victory over the Giants, now 4-4-1. They move into undisputed possession of second place. Green Bay is 3-5-1 with the Bears with a chance to go 4-5 with the win over Cleveland tomorrow. 1:07 to go. Andrews carrying, bulls his way forward, and he has a first down and a penalty marker there. And there have been some flare-ups throughout the second half. Bill Simpson and Charles Romes combined to make the stop. Atlanta will be 6-3, and the Rams, of course, needing a win over New Orleans to stay tied with the Falcons. We have a holding call against Atlanta. New England, of course, looking with very much interest at the result here because the Patriots breathing easy with a game against the Jets getting underway in Foxborough.
Walt Michaels wouldn't like it if you said that.
Well, 2-6. He's looking up in a few clubs, isn't he?
He was 1-6 before he beat the Dolphins last Monday night.
Holding, offense, number 39, third down.
James Mayberry was holding on the play. 1:01 remaining on the clock. Bills have no more timeouts remaining, and now all the Falcons have to do is just run the ball, and that's it. 3rd and 11. 30-14 the score. Lynn Kane with 2 one-yard touchdown runs. Tim Mazzetti with 3 field goals, including a 50-yarder. And Bartkowski with a touchdown pass to Junior Miller. 16 yards with 22 seconds remaining in the half to bring the Falcons back to 14-10 and really almost set the tone for the rest of the game.
Well, the Patriots have taken advantage of scoreboard watching, seeing that Buffalo is down by a bunch. Steve Grogan, 33-yard touchdown pass to Russ Francis, and the Patriots have jumped out in front over the Jets very quickly, 7-0.
William Andrews, look at that run. He's made a couple of them today on his own efforts and impetus. Might have a first down, and he does. William Andrews has had a tremendous second half. We'll figure out what Andrews has done in the second half of this game, as he has been the key offensive performer for the Falcons. Clock running, less than 40 seconds remaining.
So the Falcons will dip down and hope that New Orleans can come up with some kind of a miracle against the Rams. LA has already taken a 3-0 lead. Atlanta's record is 6-3, as Dick has pointed out, in that NFC West. And for right now, a slight edge as Bartkowski simply falls down on it. Meanwhile, Buffalo drops down to 6-3, and they'll be watching and hoping they can get some help from the New York Jets.
Well, that'll be our last play. Andrews gained 87 yards in 20 carries, most of those yards in the second half. He caught 2 passes for 30, and Bartkowski, winning quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons have surprised the Buffalo Bills 30-14. Surprised because the game was in Buffalo. Atlanta on the road, but they've done it again. Thanks to Jim Kelly. Hope you enjoyed the game on CBS. So this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. 30-14 the final. The NFL on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.